Fuck the Oscars, you know? Fuck the Oscars! Fuck you!
The movies, the internet stuff is so violent. It's so incredible.
I see worried about it just because the consumption of these violent video games has been going up continuously since the early 90s, and yet youth violence has been going
If you look at juvenile crime statistics, which have gone down dramatically over the past 15 years, it really doesn't seem to bear what the American
You can pick up guns, knives. You can now choose to punch, kick, headbutt people, stab them.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this afternoon edition of Tuned In Live. It is 4 o'clock here on a Monday afternoon. Here with my co-host, Empire. What's going on, man?
Are you ready, kiddies, for this weekend review? Alrighty.
And in case if you guys are unable to hear him, clearly his internet, he just got brand new internet. And it's a little bit better than what he had, Hugh's internet. We'll get into that in another podcast. But I do want to say, like, I almost thought I wasn't going to go live today because of the way I labeled this stream. I labeled it as mass shootings and video games. But apparently, due to Twitch's confliction with certain words and controversy, they wouldn't allow me to put that. So if you're watching us on Twitch, the podcast is called Weekend in Review, but in all actuality, we are talking about these mass shootings that went on over the past weekend and how they're involved. Well, how they're being involved and being blamed for video games, or video games are being blamed for them. So you said you want to start off with something.
Exactly. Let's start off with the weekend review, shall we? So we had two mass shootings, as we all know, in Ohio and El Paso.
Yep.
Now, two key states in the politician reviews, because if you remember, Texas is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And so is Ohio as a key state, too, to win for elections. Back in 2016, we had the same kind of thing. We had that mass shooting in Orlando, Florida, which was another key state.
Yep.
And what was the other one at? What was the other one at, Mike? Wasn't there two of them or just one of them?
I forgot.
California.
There was like two or three of them a couple of years ago. So
Yeah, and so if you actually look at the reviews and results in that, it goes back to the 2016 election. Remember when Crooked Hillary wanted to ban guns and all that? Well, look at now. We got 2020 elections coming up, and Democratic states or Democratic parties trying to use this as a momentum like Hillary did back in 2016. Well, yeah, Trump is for guns. Don't get me wrong on that. But the thing Trump should not do is blame video games. Video games has nothing to do. I could play Red Dead Redemption. I could play Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3, and guess what? I'm not out there killing. Mike's not killing out.
yeah, nobody's doing any kind of killing. Yeah.
Wolfie's not going out there shooting people. He's actually wrestling people online. You know? I mean, he ain't putting nobody through a table or through a wall or through a cage or anything. I mean, the thing is, we have people that have kind of mentioned this,
Man, you're garbling up bad.
that are actually causing these conflicts. I mean, we got people that out there that should be able to get guns. But guess what? You're going to get guns because the black market.
Yep. People are selling that shit online all the time.
Exactly. You can go to a website and click in, I want to buy a gun, and look up and click a link, and it could be a what's the thing? An auction,
Yep.
and boom, you can purchase it right there.
Yeah,
Or
that's
you
true.
can go through Bitcoin and do it that way without being afraid.
Yep. So I just found an article. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it if I'm able to hear myself on your end. This is just some stupid shit going on with the OBS and all. So, as you were stating, yes, this past weekend we had two mass shootings, one in El Paso, Texas, and one in Dayton, Ohio. This is a severe travesty going on in our country nowadays. And I'm going to read this article, in case you guys are hiding under a rock this past week. It's curious that in response to mass violence, there are so many people struggling to find ways to put on a brave face or to deflect the real issues. In Dayton, Ohio, a common refrain this morning. This article is from the Los Angeles Times. It was posted yesterday. Yesterday in Dayton, Ohio, it could have been worse. A masked man in body armor carrying large capacity magazines opened fire with a .223 caliber rifle on unsuspecting late night partiers in a bar district, killing at least 9 and wounding an additional 24 more or so. Because of its popular nighttime gathering place, Dayton police conducted a regular patrols, and officers confronted and shot the gunman dead within a minute or so. So, yes, it could have been worse. The police could have been a few blocks further away. The gunman could have been a little bit more efficient with wielding his rifle. Make and style, still unknown, but we all know what kind of gun this is, and the body count could have been much higher. That misses the point, though. There shouldn't have been a body count at all. And then over in El Paso, Texas, this was Friday or Saturday. I believe it was Saturday. The site of the previous outrage... It was? Okay. Some 12 hours earlier. Yeah, this was 12 hours earlier. This is 12 hours before the shooting in Dayton. Local officials had pointed out that an alleged gunman who had killed 20 people and injured more than 24 others was in fact a stranger in town, someone from away. As though that makes a difference to the dead and the wounded, as if Allen, Texas, where the suspected gunman lived, and El Paso are fundamentally somehow different. Are these currents of venality that course through one part of Texas or another, one part of America, or not another? The gunman in Gilroy, 3 more killed there, was in fact a local and very much a loner, a neighbor says. And then there's...
The thing I heard with... Sorry to interrupt you there, Mike.
No, you're right.
But I did read some up on some of this guy in El Paso. Apparently, he lived 650 miles away from where the original shooting was. Supposedly.
Huh.
So he wasn't even a resident there where the shooting and all that happened. 650 miles away, lived 650 miles away.
Well, then there was another thing I heard about that.
And then, I heard also about the same time that El Paso shooting happened in Dayton, Ohio, there was a thing on the white nationalist website that went up. And recently, they just charged a man, just read today, that there was another guy that was going to do another mass shooting in Florida, but they called him.
All right, hang on a second. I'm gonna interrupt you. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna try to fix this audio real quick here. Do you hear me echoing now?
No.
Are you echoing?
No.
Okay, I fixed something up there. All right, go ahead.
So the thing about it is that the guy that
I'll be back in a minute.
Paso lived away from where the shooting was. So, and then along top of it there was a white nationalist thing that went up on a website of the white supremacy website. I don't know. I never heard of it, but I did read that up on that. Now I don't know how accurate that is, if it's connected or not. People aren't sure. But also they think it's part of the connection to Dayton, Ohio also. But let's go back to where all the shootings are, okay? You got Baltimore that's very badly in crime. DC. Now we got this massacre of Dayton, Ohio. And now Texas. But the real areas are usually New York, Chicago, one of the number one strict states or cities in the U.S., and they had 66 fatalities this week. 66 shootings. Can you imagine that? 66 shootings.
God damn.
With 66 shootings, Mike. 66, and we're worried about 2. But that's not even the point, though. The point is on this, okay? Chicago is the number one strictest city/state in the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Which, South Carolina, you can't even own a concealed carry permit in South Carolina. But unless there's some kind of different rules there. But also you got California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, 3 major cities in California where there's always gang banging. And then you got Tijuana, California, which is kind of near Mexico, where guess what? All the kingpins like Al Chapo, all the drug lords, like
Yeah, that's where it's all coming in. Yeah, I forgot what the name was.
The Medellin cartel.
Yeah.
From Pablo Escobar. He did all them drugs coming in from Tijuana, California.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the drug kingpins. And guess what? El Paso, Texas, it's not even that far from the Mexico border. So you kind of figure, okay, yes, people are getting tired of these, what's that? The caravans coming through and, threatening to overrun our borders and all this stuff. Yes, most of that is all political. And we all listen to the media today. I don't even watch the news because I'm tired of hearing fake news.
Yeah, same here.
And the thing about it, it's very sad now. People, you turn on the TV, you hear all of this, and you're thinking, "Wow, what's going on?" And 90% of it is political agenda, and some of them try to shove it down your throat, and some people want you to watch it so they can brainwash you and control you and tell you to go out and vote for such and such, because that's what's going to happen down the road, possibly. Maybe many years from now, but I want you to watch it. So, and this is going to come into a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bible a little bit, but it's also written in the Bible. There's a thing called a beast. Now, I watched something the other night, about 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing on Netflix called The Great Hack, and where it contributes. If you watch about Facebook and the personality data,
mm-hmm.
there's actually something in that they try to see how you react to things. Like they'll put out something to see how you react, and that's how they get you. And that's $1 trillion industry. $1 trillion.
Oh.
So don't think we're broke. Oh no, we're not broke at all. Because if you
always making money.
No, these guys make some serious cash. And because one of them was in part of the campaign. They say they were part of the Trump campaign, but I don't know. I'm not a full believer in all that stuff. But the way how this whole thing sets with the Mueller report and everything connected and the Facebook personality data where they rob your data and all your personality information.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's part of that series of The Great Hack on Netflix. Watch that and then combine it with everything you see going on right now. And your mind will be a lot clearer. But I watched it with a clear mind. I didn't really care for the political bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But the way how they described it, it's how they see how you react to certain thing. And they use that, and it's like 30 million people were affected by it. Maybe 50, 30 or 50.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. I think it might have been 50 million people's Facebook's personality, personal data, and all this stuff were affected, whether you wanted to or not. And they wanted to see how you react, with how you feel and all this stuff. And it was really interesting because I'm like, oh wow, this is like, wow, people make money off of this stuff. And it's just crazy how, people will do certain things to see how you react.
Yeah, because social media is it's a vast network that connects people all together through something.
It's a $1 trillion industry.
Yep.
$1 trillion industry, big time.
Yep, and everybody is able to voice their opinions and feelings on certain topics, certain issues, whatever. Like, take the mass shootings right now. Like, I heard about the shootings. I never really read up on them. Why am I hearing myself echoing? I took care of that.
You're not.
Nah, I think it's coming through on your end. It might be the headphone volume or something. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, like, take the mass shooting thing. Like, as soon as people find out about it, everybody is like, give prayers to those who lost their lives. Like even one of our fans, our listeners, Jasmine, she hails from down there. I think she said around El Paso. She said luckily, she wasn't involved there. She was nowhere near that place. So, I told her our prayers go out to her. But yeah, it's funny how, social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that are one big gateway to everybody for that kind of information. And like you said, even when there's like fake news or whatever, like take a look what's on TV. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, newspapers. It's like they deliver news reports out to you whichever way they can, and people have they're like anonymous reactions to what they read and watch, as opposed to when you get on social media, when you go on Facebook and you see a post of let's say that what the hell is her name, that one dumb bitch that's getting a lot of that everybody hates.
Hillary.
No, not Hillary, not Hillary. What's her name? Ostrich or something, or it starts with an O.
Oh, AOC.
Yeah, like look at her stirring a lot of fucking controversy and all. And there's like thousands of people voicing an opinion about, how they feel about her. Like there's you gotta look at, like, when it comes to comments, like even look at Trump. Like whenever Trump says something, it's almost like a 50-50 balance of opinions, coming from both sides. Everybody's posting their opinions and voicing their opinions about certain things, and it's all a political. I think it's all just like a political thing. Like
it is, and I'm going to tell you a reason why is because they want to put the fear. See, this is how people make their money. Again, it comes down to media.
Yeah.
Okay, you take say you get like a story like with the Dayton, Ohio, and Texas, Paso. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Papers, social media, Twitter, Instagram, all of those things. Somebody posts that up, but guess what? They see that, and the person, one wrong person can get totally mentally distraughted.
Yep.
Okay, and that it will screw. It's called fear, and that's what this whole Politica thing has been going on. See, Trump's trying to destroy that.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that don't like Trump, and I totally understand. Okay, not a whole lot of people like Trump, but he's doing the best he can. Even though, yes, he says some things that are wrong, but give the man credit is due. He is doing a hell of a good job with what cards he has. But he's trying to destroy the fear and pretty much kind of do like how Bush did back in, I think, what was it, 2001, when we had the terrorist attacks. Bush tried to say, hey, go back to your normal lives. Nothing to be fear of, and such like that. That's exactly what Trump's trying to do.
Yep.
Okay. But at least he's keeping his promises. Because remember when we had our terrorist attacks in 9/11, everybody? Remember that? 9/11.
Yep.
Everybody was afraid to go flying. Everybody's terrified of flying. Hell, I'm terrified of flying still, but you know what? I've overcome that fear. Yeah, you're going to get turbulence, but it's pretty much the safest thing this day. But everybody still flies. You know why? Because they got over that fear. They know that, there is actually federal agents in those planes that are actually there that are armed to protect you. And guess what? Yeah. Even though the Bible says eventually, the beast system, and this is going to come down. It will get worse before it gets better. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're going through tribulations. People are shooting people. You know what? That's because people are stupid enough to do something stupid, and I guess they want to go spend the rest of their lives in prison. But then again, it could be these politicians, the Democratic Party, paying these people to make stuff do that, because there has been incidences that has happened where the politicians have paid people to go cause some kind of massacre so they have something they can come off of a topic. And I guarantee if you watch the Democratic debate soon, I think there's another one coming up, I'm not sure when, that this is going to be a major topic. I bet you on it. That's going to be a number one topic. Let's ban guns. No, let's arm everybody so that if this thing does happen, guess what? We can shoot the bastard before the police are even there.
Oh, liberals don't like that. They don't believe in anybody owning a gun.
No, God no. We don't want to get it in the wrong hands. But
You know what liberals want? They want you to pick up that phone and dial 911. And you know what? How many times have I dialed 911? I'm trying to speak without hearing my echoing here. But how many times have I dialed 911? And it's either taken the dispatcher so many rings to answer the phone, or how many minutes it takes for the police to respond on a certain issue. Like, if my house was burning down, yeah, the fire department would be here. But let's say I had a neighbor who was threatening to come over and stab me because they didn't like how I looked and all. You know how long it takes the police to get out here on an issue like that? It takes them like 10, 15, 20 fucking minutes. By then, I could have been dead by then.
It takes normally an average of 15 to 20 minutes for a police officer to come to your place.
And you know what the fucked up part is? I live not even 5 minutes from my nearest police department. Like, you couldn't send a patrol officer from the barracks right there to come out to my house. Like, you gotta call Joe Blow, who's on the other side of the county, to come out. It takes them 15 minutes. Like, the county I live in, there's like four barracks. You know, you got the north end. Like, I live on the north end, so I'm near the northern barracks. So I'm like, okay, the northern barracks is not even 5 minutes right up the road from me, straight shot. So I'm like, how come it takes 20 minutes for somebody to get to my residence? At this point, if somebody is a threat to my family and I within my household on my property, I'm not going to pick up the phone and dial 911. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm either going to pick up a gun, or I'm going to find something that is going to defend myself and defend my family. You know, I'm not going to wait for some fucking police officer to show up at my house, because some liberal fucktard said, oh, don't worry about guns, that's what we have law enforcement for. Yeah, well, look at the shit that's going on in Baltimore. That's another thing I want to cover, too, is...
Another thing is, we're not bashing the police, just so we all know that, so I can defend Mike. We're not bashing the police. We support them. We support EMTs, nurses, everything. But Mike has a point, though. Saying also in Baltimore, another shit. Let's just say these shithole places, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are the problem. I mean, yeah, we need, if you really want to hit the hammer on certain things, get rid of these fluke, fake politician people out of office. I'm telling you right now, people, if you want to make a difference in this state, in this country, vote. Don't sit on your asses and then bitch and complain that says nothing's getting done. Get off your ass if you're over the age of 18 and go vote. Mm-hmm. Because that's how you make a difference, and that's how you get these crooked assholes out of office.
Yeah, and then they do something stupid like, oh, let's look to the electoral vote. Let's find some other way of voting. Let's vote your uncle. Let's vote your grandpa Frank. Let's have Grandpa Frank and all his aunts and uncles vote. Yeah, you know where I saw that shit. That movie, Black Sheep, with David Spade and Chris Farley, where
I love that movie.
Yeah, where the one crooked politician, she was looking to get votes, in this little town that his brother's running for, and she's getting all these votes. So Chris Farley's character and his buddy, David Spade, they're tallying up how many residents are within that town compared to how many votes were made. And he was like, wait a minute, there's only so and so many people here, but there's this many votes. Like, who all's voting? And so they're looking up the list of people, and they're saying, okay, this person deceased. You got crooked politicians out there that are willing to do something like that, where they're going to take your Aunt Jane and your Uncle Bob, who's been dead for 15 years, and it's, oh, they recently voted for me. That's where it's going to come to. I mean, It was in a movie.
There's also another movie with Will Ferrell and what was the other guy that's his buddy?
The
Oh,
I think it was The Election or something. I know what you're talking
yes,
about.
that's it. That is the prime example.
Hmm.
Prime example of how pretty much elections are pretty much ran.
Yup.
It takes and most of this is from people that actually live on our own backyard, controlled by what's the big old billionaire? Oh yeah. The Knox brothers and what's the other one, Mike? The big one.
I only know a certain ones, Bill Gates and shit like that.
No, not Bill Gates. It's the other guy. The guy that's like 90. That looks like he's 90 years old, but he's actually 70.
It ain't Rockefeller.
Not
Well, Rockefeller.
Well, Rockefeller, it could be him too because he was a Nazi collaborator.
You say he's a Nazi collaborator?
Collaborator.
Oh, collaborator.
And Rockefeller, the Knock brothers, and there's another one, Soros, George Soros, #1 guy.
I heard of that.
Oh yeah, George Soros is a big one. Nazi collaborator, hates America.
Damn.
But the thing about it is, they want to pay illegals across Mexico to come into America and vote for Democrat because you know why? Because they don't like how the way he's doing. And you know why they don't like Trump? Is because he's knocking down the New World Order, which is pretty much a one state solution and one world government order, which means all these 50, 70, 175 countries fall into one big ass government, which means police state everywhere. And that's one thing that Trump don't want. And and that's what I'm saying, man. If you want to make a difference in the world today, go out and vote. State your opinions, contact your politicians, saying, look, we will not have our Constitution destroyed, and we will not be silent. Pretty much, I'm not saying to go out there and go destroy shit. That's stupid, because that would get you arrested, unfortunately.
Well, apparently some politicians, they feel like that's like a moneymaker in their pocket, especially for the mass media. Like, take that whole Freddie Gray incident in Baltimore that happened 3 years ago, where the mayor of Baltimore, she pretty much wanted them to continue to riot until they calmed themselves down and, like, let it right out. And it was like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. Then the Maryland governor, Larry Hogan, he called in the National Guard. And brought order, and he said, all right, there's going to be 10 o'clock curfews. Anybody outside 10 o'clock, you're getting arrested, no matter what your age is. And it worked. She was upset about it, but it said, look, there could have been a lot more going on. There could have been a lot more, businesses broken into, burned down. People could have gotten hurt. People could have gotten shot over a group of idiots who were rioting over nothing. Like, their thing is, oh, let's riot because we got a crooked justice system in Baltimore. It's like, look, you need to let the justice system work. If you got crooked police...
But here's the thing, though, Mike. Instead of breaking things and destroying things, have a peaceful protest. There's nothing says you can't go out in the streets and hold signs.
Yes, you have a right to... Yeah, people have a right to peaceful protest.
Don't go out there looting shit, breaking shit, catching things on fire, because that makes you look like an asshole. And you ain't going to get your point across, because that makes you look dumber than hell. Holding signs, marching, holding hands together, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay? That is peaceful protest, and that I'm okay with. But when you start breaking buildings, that ruins taxpayers' money. Guess what? The American people don't like that.
Yeah.
It's been a known fact that, when we have stupid stuff like that, they're trying to impeach Trump, guess what? That comes out of your taxes. Whether you like it or not, guess what? That pisses off the American people. Yep. And that's why in 2020, you're going to see Trump back in that office. Yep. It's because stupid Democrats like that and, want to run their shit, run their mouth, shove agendas down throats. Guess what? You're just pissing off the normal American that would have your probably politician in there. But you want to keep on pissing off the right people that gets the vote. Guess what? You ain't going to get that. And the thing is, we are so racial, we are so divided as a country. It's not even funny because of social media, At least 35%.
Well, social media and the public
Let me
media
correct
too.
myself. Yeah, let me correct myself on that. 35% of social media is to blame.
Yep.
Media, the news, that's the majority of it there. That's probably about 60% there. And the other one is newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are that week, or you're 100% right there is why we are so corrupted to this day.
Yep.
Because
And
people
even
are afraid of the truth.
and even our buddy, yeah, and even my buddy Tim in the welcome Tim in the Facebook chat. Yeah, people have no values anymore. Everything's about their freedoms and their feelings and themselves. Yeah. It's almost like I don't know if I want to say selfish kind of thing, or what.
Childish and stuff.
Yeah,
I have to agree.
yeah, Tim. Like I said earlier, if you want to join in, man, all you got to do is download the Discord app, either on your phone or PC. It's free to download, free to sign up. You can create your own login for it. And if you still want to join us while we're live, I can send you the link to our server. You could join in at any time and voice your opinion, man. Even we got Cypher. He's over in the Twitch chat. He's listening to us. Sorry I didn't.
Cypher.
I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you earlier, man. I know you're here.
But I mean, it's sad how the society is today. Like I said, though, you want to check out something? Check out Netflix, The Great Hack, and go with it with a clear mind. Don't go in there with the mind saying, "Oh, this is all bullshit." Go in there with a clear mind and understanding what it's telling you. Because if you do, you get the concept of what's going on.
Yep.
Now, like I said, the election debates, the Democrat debates are going on. And, there's a lot of controversy. 2020, everybody wants to be president. God forbid if there ain't going to be something. And I guarantee you, before this election comes to November 6th or November 4th, whenever they're going to have it, 2020, there will probably be, and this is just a prediction, there will probably be one or two more mass shootings before the election is up.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, you're at work?
And not only that, they're going to blame Trump.
Yep.
Now, Trump is doing a whole bunch of things around the country and the other countries. Now, you tell me how you're going to blame a man that's in the White House, how it's his fault.
Oh, since you brought that up, I'm sorry to cut you. Since you brought that up, there was an article on Facebook the other night I was reading, and there was this one person on there. I forgot what his name was. I blocked his ass. He was a...
Was that you arguing with somebody on the freaking article?
Yeah, he was trying to say, "Oh, Trump is all the blame. Trump is the reason this shooting happened. The white man is the reason behind it." And the dude is Muslim or something. And I said, "Dude, you need a fucking reality check, you dumb fuck." I went off on his fucking ass before I blocked him.
Well, the thing is, people think they know who's to blame. First of all, did Trump pull the trigger? No, it was a dumb idiot that was behind the gun that pulled the trigger. Guns don't go off by themselves, unfortunately. And if they did, we would all probably be dead right about now. That's how many. There's like 300 million Americans that own guns, okay? And there's like trillions of ammunition that's out there, okay? So do your math.
There was something that I read. There was something that I read about this, and it was a tweet that Trump sent out. If I can find it, because I clicked on it to click on the article, and
the real Donald Trump. Are you sure it was off of that one?
Yeah, it is. I know there's like 1,000 Donald Trumps on Twitter.
Yeah.
Tim said, "I'm glad I moved to Mississippi, though. I can actually defend myself." Now there you go. That's what it's all about. Like just about anywhere you can't.
Well, yeah, you can't do it in Maryland because Maryland has strict gun laws.
Yep.
About concealed carry. I know South Carolina you can't. A couple other.
Now let me go. All right, this is from ABC News. This is an article that was posted today. Actually, it was posted 3:42. Yeah, this is when I first pulled it up before I started the stream. Making his first formal remarks after the weekend mass shootings, President Donald Trump said Monday that the U.S. was overcome with shock, horror, and sorrow, and that the nation must condemn racism and white supremacy. Now, you got people that are calling Trump a racist and that he supports white supremacy. You got a president who's trying to kill that. He's trying to end that. But people look at him and say, "Oh, this guy's a racist." Like, let me tell you all something out there. Who's against Trump? Okay, I myself, I don't agree with
I will
what.
name one racist person.
What's
I
that?
will name one racist person. Al Sharpton.
Yep,
Bingo.
definitely.
Guy that doesn't
Oh,
pay
I will
attention.
I will definitely get into that. But let me tell a lot of people something, okay? For anybody who will listen to this on YouTube or whatever. Now, no. Let's see what Tim say. We have a fully constitutional carry here, no permits required. Oh, that's nice. Down in Mississippi. But
Yeah, but Mississippi is really known for drugs there too.
yeah.
I have friends that visit over there.
But yeah. Did I vote for Trump? No. Do I agree with some things that he says or does? And there are some things that he does that even some Trump supporters don't agree with. Like I mentioned before, Mark Levin. I enjoy listening to his talk show. He's all for Trump. And he's even come out and said, I think he's even told Trump himself, he said, look, yeah, there's some things that I don't agree with. You know, I mean, I can see your point with certain things, but, you know, there's going to be people who agree or disagree with somebody if you vote for him. Now, I look at a man, and you got a big percentage of the black community, African Americans, black Americans, who voted for Trump because they see a difference. They see a man who's trying to change the country for the better. So some people want to say that Trump is racist. Like, how many Hispanics out there are for Trump, who voted for Trump? How many black Americans voted for Trump?
I'll be honest with you. Now the African community, Latino and the African American community are actually starting to lean towards Trump more than the Democratic. This is actually basically true fact.
Yeah, and those who are calling racism, who are crying racism and and white supremacy on Trump, is our own race. It's like, what are we afraid to offend somebody? That's what this generation is about now. Is we're afraid to offend somebody. We're afraid that Trump is going to be the death of this country because of racism. And it's like, no, we are. You know. We are the ones that are posting on social media. You know, like when you look on Facebook, when you look on Twitter, you know, when you're reading a bunch of these articles, you know, relating to Trump, relating to certain things that are political, you know, how many comments do you see that are racist toward each other? You know, people that are racist, you know, about certain things, and then they're like, oh, there's an explanation for all this, you know? Blame Trump. Like, Trump is not to blame for any of it. But let me go back. I see Dark is in the chat. Hey Dark, over there on Facebook. If you want to join in, man, Discord's open. Come on in, voice your opinion. I mean, we're not going to say anything racist, or, you know, we're not doing any of that, but, you know, anything at all, man, because we're going political. We're going to talk about why video games are being blamed again for, you know, this political stunt and shit. But back to the article. Trump said a wicked man went to a Walmart store in El Paso, Texas, in that mass shooting, and said a twisted monster carried out the shooting in Dayton, Ohio just hours later. These barbaric slaughters are an assault on our communities, an attack upon our nation, and a crime against all humanity. The shooter in El Paso posted a manifesto online consumed by racist hate. In one voice, our nation will condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Even ABC News Politics tweeted out, President Trump even, you know, said that in one voice, our nation must condemn racism, you know, etc. These sinister indulgencies, indologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America. Yeah, Tim, not to mention the media doesn't give you the whole story. That's true. The media is known for halving the truth. Like, you hear only half of what's being told, and the other half, you don't get the whole story. That's like when you hear about these incidents that happen. Going back to the Freddie Gray incident in Baltimore, where a lot of people know the whole story, you know, because it got out there after the events. Freddie Gray, you know, he was hospitalized. I forgot what he was hospitalized for, but they released him. And the doctor told him to stay on bed rest for X a number of days or weeks. And rather than following doctor's orders, you know, he continued his activities. He went out in the streets, and I guess he went out on the corner and he was selling cigarettes illegally. He may not have been selling drugs, but I heard it was cigarettes. And usually, I mean, I don't know what the county or state law is when it comes to distributing or selling products like cigarettes on the street, you know, when you're not a vendor. But, you know, he was caught up. You know, the police came up to him. You know, they say what you're doing is illegal, whatever he was selling. And I heard he tried resisting arrest, and they were going to arrest him for you know, something that may have been as small as a felony or, you know, a little crime. You know, they could have taken him downtown, booked him, you know, fined him for whatever. You know, they're not going to let him go without a warning, you know, with a warning or anything. So they tried arresting him, and he probably resisted arrest, and he was just too weak. And, you know, he was laying on the ground. You know, they cuffed him, put him up in a paddy wagon, and took off. Now, only part of that video, if it, you know, there was a video that was filmed, you know, part of it made it to the news. You know, when they had him on the ground cuffing him to when they put him in the back of the paddy wagon. And then, you know, there was even one prisoner that was in the back of that vehicle that stated that, yeah, even though he wasn't seatbelted, he wasn't secured in place, but he was up and flailing himself against the walls and stuff. And then people were going ape shit over that guy's testimony of that. And then he changed the story to, oh, they just threw him in there, you know, they didn't secure him or anything with seatbelts, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Then, of course, you know, he gets to the police station, he's requiring medical assistance, and they take him to the hospital, and they treat him, and then I think within like a day or two, he was dead. And then so people are wanting these 6 police officers that were involved in this case, they wanted them charged and fined and jailed and everything. And of course they were, I can't remember if they were indicted or whatever, but out of those 6 officers, there was one female. She was in charge. She was a light-skinned girl. And there was 2 black American police officers. So you can't say the whole thing was a racial issue with these police officers. Now, the argument still goes, you know, whether or not they handled the situation properly under orders. I did click on your link, Tim. I'll read that in a second. But, you know, there was really, I think there was not enough evidence to charge him on or whatever. And the city of Baltimore were like, you know, we had enough of this. You know, there are police shootings. You know, police are, media didn't. Oh, I saw that. Actually, I did see that. Earlier. I did. All right, this is claiming it as fake news. I don't know. I'll cover that in a second. But when you get something like that, and then you got the public that are like, oh well, they didn't charge these police officers, we're gonna riot. Look. Under the Constitution, you have a right to protest peacefully. You have a right to a peaceful protest. If you don't agree with something, I thought you unmuted yourself. I thought you muted yourself for a reason.
No, but okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I thought you muted for something.
No, I had a phone call.
Okay.
Came in there, but the thing I was going to say now, if you remember Mike, remember the O.J. Simpson stuff and the Freddie, the Malcolm X incident in '92?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Guess what? Remember that? That was also doing George Bush Sr.'s political.
Yep.
To go for office for a second time. So if you look at the history of the U.S., okay, there's always something that was major that happened during political. So, when Freddie Gray got arrested for selling for selling cigars. But if you looked at the time when Malcolm X went all the riot back in California, let's go 92. That's when George Bush was going to run for the second term, but he didn't get it for a second. Pretty much didn't know what kind to do. So, that's how Clinton got elected back in 92 to 2000. And then, of course, the change thing. People want change, and that's right. You're saying change, and we didn't have that change from '08 to 16 because
That's
Obama
true.
promised the same thing: change that. And you know what? As everybody's blaming Trump, oh, all these kids are in these cages and stuff. Well, guess what? Obama's border.
Yeah, because even some people said that, oh, Obama, he can't take care of things in one term. It takes 2 terms. It's like, well, out of everything he's promising, like, where's these promises? Where's these things that he promised us the first term? Oh, it takes 2 terms to do it. Yeah, bullshit. We didn't see any of that within those 2 terms that he was elected, and now we're starting to see things come together under Trump, and you got the left, the liberals, all of them, they're upset about it because, the country is not as crooked as they want it, which, I believe is what what they're going for. They want crime to run rampant. They want this to be, and I had mentioned this the other day to somebody. I was like, I can see this country being a dystopia within the next 10 to 15 years. Like, take a look at...
If Trump gets elected the second time, the New World Order will be pushed back 50 years.
Good.
Pushed back 50 years if Trump's elected the second time. But here's the thing. The Democratic Party wants us pretty much to ruin the country so they can have the UN run. Pretty much we are the UN right now. Pretty much the nation's police is everywhere. But Trump is trying to... See, we got out of the Paris Accords. People want us in the Paris Accords because guess what? We was in debt because of the Paris Accords and a lot of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand that. Whatever they do overseas and stuff in the Paris Accords, guess what? It gets taken out of your money. It's $15 minimum wages. Or the so-called New Green Deal, which would put us in over $100 trillion in debt.
Yep.
As AOC won. And people like her need to go back to Bartown. He sucks at politicians with Bartown. But the thing about it is okay, we got people out there that are a hell of a lot worse. Say Nancy Pelosi for president. You know how, as much as she speaks, she's actually drunk all the time. Okay? Every single word you hear her slurring, or she can't even get her story. And that's the problem with today. People can't stick with their promises and stuff.
Now, Tim in the Tim.
Some things, not everything. Some things do take 2. Not everything. Like the tax cuts and the low employment rate. That took 1 term.
Yeah.
Now the long term, the tax. Yeah, I can understand that going in a second. I think how Trump said it'd start on 20, but that's okay. 2020 comes up. Guess what? Everybody tax. But you know what? Some things do take 2 terms. Some things takes 1 term. But this racial dividing stuff can be ended in 1 term. 1 term's all it takes. And that is if we can get everybody on the same page and look, this is what these people want.
Yep.
The people want certain things. You can't have everything eat the cake too. Okay? You got these little snowflakes out there like, oh, it's such a... Yeah, it's a sad... But how you fix that is you get these idiots you fix our justice system, which is the biggest problem in this country. The justice system, biggest problem. I mean, we got fentanyl now. This new drug called fentanyl. Well, not new drug, but it's been out there. And people are doing it, giving people overdosing. A lot of people are overdosing on fentanyl now. And that's the new one. It used to be coke. It used to be heroin. It's fentanyl. And it can kill millions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people.
Tim over in the Facebook chat. I'm sorry I didn't get to your comment right there, man. Tim said, just like they never interviewed the man who stopped the Southern Springs man who stopped the shooter with the AR-15. And then, of course, when I was talking about what's going to happen in the next 10 to 15 years if so-and-so ain't done, he said Civil War II in less than 10 years. That's true. Because
it's already started.
Yeah, because we're so, like, some of us are so worried about, like ISIS and Al Qaeda. Like, we have our troops overseas that are taking care of the job. Like they recently came out and said that they got Osama bin Laden's son. He was found dead. Okay, that's good. You ain't got no new ruler for Al Qaeda. You keep taking them out.
Technically, there's always a new ruler in Al Qaeda. That's
true. Now over here, we're tearing ourselves apart because we're letting social media, we're letting the news media, we're letting liberals, the left, we're letting all these people tear us apart with fake news and false accusations pointing at our president who's trying to clean up this mess. But all they keep saying is he's a racist. He supports white supremacy. He's to blame for these mass shootings. He's to blame for this and that. Like, even some people came out today and they were like, oh, Trump wasn't there, to address the mass shootings. He wasn't there at all. We'll have Discord on your phone. Okay, you got Discord on your phone now? All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to send you a link.
Go ahead and send him that stuff. I'm going to say a little bit of stuff about that stuff.
All right, I'm gonna put the link right here in the Facebook chat. So if you got your if you're logged into Discord, just click that link and it'll bring you right to our server. And I'll see you. Yeah. And then when you come in, just let me know when you're in here, Tim. But yeah, go ahead.
So what Mike was saying about about how everybody thinks should be there. Trump could be at the White House and address it. Okay, Trump did address it. Trump actually had a press conference.
Yeah,
it was a picture of, and he did address it. He doesn't got to be on like how when we had the Hurricane Michael thing not long ago. Guess what? He came down here. He actually even the tornado that hit up there at near Auburn. He actually came out there and observed it. You didn't see Hillary or Obama did that stuff. You didn't see that in 2016. But here's the thing, though. The Civil War thing. Okay, Tim, you mentioned earlier in your comments, Mike said, I've known that since 2011. I had a guy that I used to have an old neighbor, and I lived in, and told me about it. I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. I said, you can see it. Plain as deal. Like if you look outside all the social media and you look outside the box, everybody looks inside the. Everybody does. I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I learn stuff. Everybody looks inside the box, but they're afraid to look outside because if they look outside, they discover a whole new. And me, I've become. If you just say you get a glass of water.
All right, hold on, Tim.
Okay. Say you get a glass of water, you fill it up halfway. You get a glass of bleach. You fill that halfway. They both look the same, right?
I'll message to you, Tim. Yeah, go ahead.
One has a scent and the other one does not. So say that, man, that looks like water. No, it's not. Smell it. That's looking outside of that water. Say, oh, well, that's not water, right? That's how this world works. You look outside the box. You don't look in. If you look inside of it, you drink that mix of water, guess what? Dead.
Yeah.
Water. That's how this works. That's how this works. The box. Everybody looks inside. You look outside, and that's what Trump's doing. Trump sees the bigger picture, what he can do, and Trump's doing that. See, all these other politicians, they look and say, oh, look, I'm going to pick this thing out. I'm going to pick that thing out of the box. And that's how the politician, that's how the political system, you look inside the box, you pick out Nick picks, and that's how they get you. Because you look inside the box, oh, well, I want that. And he's saying, he made a good point about this. He made a good point about that. That's because it's inside the box. That's not the bigger picture.
Now, here's another thing. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just pulled up a couple tweets that, oh, there he is. Okay, Tim, I see you over in the online. If you click on General under Voice Channels, and I'll take care of the rest. I'll unmute you from there. He is online. I see him.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So you can get that in there. All right. Trump tweeted out, this was sometime yesterday, I guess. He said, we cannot let those killed in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio die in vain. Likewise, for those so seriously wounded, we can never forget them. and those who came before them. Republicans and Democrats must come together and get strong background checks, perhaps marrying the legislation with desperately needed immigration reform. We must have something good, if not great, come out of these two tragic events. And then it was followed up by, the media has a big responsibility to life and safety in our country. Fake news has contributed greatly to the anger and rage that has built up for so many years. News coverage has got to start being fair, balanced, and unbiased, or these terrible problems only get worse. And I know you got to have something on that.
Boom. We've just nailed it with a hammer, buddy.
Yep. Alrighty, he's in. Alrighty, can you hear us there, Tim?
All right, you got the floor, Tim.
Yeah, I can hear you.
There you go. Damn, it's good to hear you again. Ever since high school, man.
Know what you're saying, man.
Yeah. So Empire, Tim and I, we graduated back in 2004 together, and God, I ain't talked to you since then, except only on Facebook. But I do got to step away for a second, Tim. You go ahead and voice your opinion, man.
Buddy.
Yeah, I'll be back.
So, all these Democrats out there that are trying to push all this gun control, they don't understand that criminals, by their very definition, don't follow laws, if you guys know what I'm
Right.
saying. So, the only people that they are hurting are the people that use the firearms defensively in these situations.
Exactly. And that's the problem with today's society. People don't want to follow the law. Oh, well, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Just get away with anything you want. No, it doesn't work like you said, Tim. You got criminals out there that break the law consistent every day, probably second or possible. But, the thing like you saying, Tim, about gun, southern states don't really care that much about the, because they know what guns Second Amendment does. And that's when it comes into the Constitution and all that. Like you said, Mississippi, Alabama. Sometimes Florida has a strict, it's not strict on it, but you have to do some stuff for concealed permit. Texas, all the southern states, except South Carolina.
Wolf, you're late joining in.
Except if you're in South Carolina, you cannot cross state line permit in South Carolina. That's the only state in the South that you cannot cross without having a.
Well, what I think's funny about that is, if with my concealed carry permit, I can carry in every state I cross through, driving up there to Maryland until I get into Maryland.
You cannot go to South Carolina too. You can't even in South Carolina. I looked it up, and it was actually recently updated. South Carolina, Maryland, and I think Illinois is another one. I think there's a couple of them, even out west.
Well, see, luckily I don't go that way. I go through Tennessee and Virginia. But like I said, all the way until I get to Maryland, I can carry, and I can have it in my car, have it on my person. Till I get there, then I have to lock it in my trunk with the ammo and the magazines separately. And that doesn't help me if somebody tries to card.
Nope. And that's the weird thing about it. You'd figure Maryland would be okay with it. Crime as there is in Baltimore and D.C. But you know what? You're allowed to conceal carry in D.C.
Yeah, as long as you get a D.C. concealed carry license, because they don't honor anyone else.
I didn't know that part, but yeah, I mean, you as long as you go past Maryland, you can go to Pennsylvania and still have every carry license you can get. But it's just weird how these gun people think, oh well, you can't. Like you said, Maryland. If Western Maryland's not bad, it's starting to get bad, but it's not bad. If you go to the eastern side of Maryland, that's where you run into all those shootings and robberies, like help me out here, Mike. Like Ocean City, Ocean City, PG County, Montgomery County, stuff like that. There's the $1 million, like a bunch of million.
Yeah, they're the rich counties.
that's when you run the problem. I mean, Westminster, you have a little bit of crime there, but it's not too often.
Yeah, because you figure when you run into a county or an area that's populated with rich people, you're bound to have some kind of burglary or robbery or any kind of thing like that. Because you got people out there with that mentality of, well, you know, the times they're changing and all, and you got to find some way to survive. Survival of the fittest, dog eat dog kind of thing. And it's like, how about instead of robbing my home, breaking into my home to steal any of my valuables, how about going out there and looking for a job, I mean, just places, Taco Bell's hiring,
And people don't want to do that, and that's the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, yeah, people don't like fast food. Well, guess what? You could be a security officer. People are afraid to be offended because of
Yeah.
certain jobs require. Yeah, some people don't want to go to college. That's fine. You could be a you can go to the military. Military, you can go get your college degree. I mean, heck, go to the military. They'll discipline you and everything there. I mean, you can go fly a jet. You can go ride a tank, gun.
Mm-hmm.
You can go do all that in the military. But you know what? You got to have the mentality in the military. That's what people don't get.
Yeah.
See, if you even in the military, there are some that have mentality problems, and the ones that can't hack it is because what I can't say pressure, but they can't probably say not very mentality into it. You can have a lot of mentality and take the sort of come. But there's a lot of other military jobs out there that you don't have to go in to go hurt somebody. You could be a technician, a person that fixes planes, tanks, and all that. I mean, they might not get paid a lot, but they should get paid a lot. People that defend our country should get a hell of a lot.
Well, to jump in on that military thing is they can't compartmentalize the having to be able to kill someone for a reason or even wound them because those people are trying to attack you. You're not doing it intentionally. You're defending yourself and your country, and people can't rationalize that because they've never had to be in that situation.
Exactly. Instead, they'd rather go hurt innocent people. People that are unarmed, kids that have nothing to do with the problems that we have today.
Well, I can guarantee you that some of these shooters are people that sit alone in their basement. They may or may not play video games, and their parents never taught them the values of life. They just left them alone to their own devices, and they couldn't figure it out on.
I think a majority of the part is also peer pressure. People that were picked up. People that were take the Columbine shooting.
That's usually what it is. It's usually bullying is an issue, and that's one factor that not a lot of people are covering nowadays. Is the fact that our children are being bullied in school to the point where they're going to do something. Well, it's either suicide or they want to take matters into their own hands. Like they're afraid of going to their teachers or their principals and saying, "Look, Billy Bob is picking on me because I wear green glasses." And then
when they get off their bus or whatever, they get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
But in reality, and that's how these mass shootings in schools and all that happen. Is because it takes so much from all these years. It builds up. It's like a ticking time bomb, pretty much.
Yeah.
You get pissed. Say you're a new person in school, you get picked on. Okay. First year you get picked on. Second year you get picked on. Third year you get picked on. Fourth year. And it keeps on building until guess what? Boom, he explodes, and guess what happened? You got a mass shooting we have now. And that's the problem. People need to realize, okay, if you're going to pick on a person, guess what? Expect a retaliation. It's going to come one of these days. And
exactly.
Look what we have now. Look at Columbine. Columbine was because a kid got rejected by a girlfriend.
Well, actually, let me I just pulled up the article on that. I'm going to go ahead and cover this real quick. This is from the History Channel, History.com. This article was posted back in 2009. At Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, 2 teens went on a shooting spree on April 20th, 1999. God, that was over 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Yeah. 20
I thought it
years
was
ago.
2000s.
And there were several factors to this. Before I continue this article, there were several factors to this that we remember. Like, even, like I said, Tim and I, we go way back to school. We heard about this kind of shit all the time. You know, like, video games like Doom was being blamed. The kids listened to... the kids listened to Marilyn Manson. Like, God, we grew up on Marilyn Manson. I didn't have the need to shoot up the school we went to.
I was in Rob Zombie at that time.
Same here. Tim and I, we grew up on the same music. I'm like, we didn't feel like shooting the school up until graduation.
Right.
Let's see.
I understand. There was tons of bomb threats when I was in school, and that's because people knew that they didn't want to go to school that day. We called it in, and there's gonna be a bomb threat. Da, 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 da.
Oh my God! The sidetrack just for a second there. I'm sorry, Tim. You remember the time we had that bomb threat, and we all got evacuated out to the football field, and the dogs came in. This was after they added the new addition onto the building, and it was said that the dogs they led the police to one particular locker, but all they found in there was markers, because he said the chemical in markers was almost like the same compound they use in bombs.
Wow, I didn't know. But yeah, that's the thing. Even to this day, and now people are not doing bomb threats anymore. Now they're going in shooting sprees and killing people in schools. Let's go back a little bit forward in time, Mike. Let's go back to the what was it? Was it Massachusetts or Connecticut when the elementary school? I think it wasn't clear.
I know what you're talking about. That was in 2012. Yeah, that was at elementary school.
Little kids that had nothing to do, and a teenager went in there and murdered all those kids. For what?
It was even said, I think he shot his mom before he even did that, and his dad was like at work or something, and he went to this school, and he was so messed up in the head.
But he got picked on as a kid. He was also picked on. I guarantee you that's part of it. And guess what? And it's all because of these social media sites that they recruit Antifa. You got all these little supremacist groups. You got Antifa, you got Black Lives Matter, you got
Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook. It was in Newton. Yeah, it was in
Newton.
Newtown, Connecticut.
Connecticut. I knew it was Connecticut or Massachusetts.
Yeah, it was 20-year-old Adam Lanza. He shot and killed 26 people, including 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7, and 6 adult staff members. Before driving to the school, he shot and killed his mother. At first, responders arrived at the school. Lanza had committed suicide by shooting himself in the head.
But for what, though? What did them little kids do to him? Them little kids are innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's see. A November 2013 report issued by the Connecticut State Attorney's Office concluded that Lanza acted alone and planned his own actions, but provided no indication why he did so or why he targeted the school. A report issued by the Office of the Child Advocate in November 2014 said that Lanza had Asperger's syndrome and as a teenager suffered from depression, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD, but concluded that they had neither caused nor led him to his murderous acts. The report went on.
He was picked on because he had Asperger's.
Well, let's see. The report went on to saying that his severe and deteriorating internalized mental health problems combined with an atypical preoccupation with violence and his access to deadly weapons provided a recipe for mass murder. I think at one point I heard them say that his mom used to take him out to shooting ranges, and he became interested in firing weapons. And like it just said here, he had a preoccupation with violence. So with his mentality, he has Asperger's syndrome. I don't know too much about Asperger's. But mixed with depression, anxiety, and OCD, and when your mother, gives you access, like opens you up to, a firearm, like, oh, I'm going to take you out to the firing range, it's a hobby or whatever, and then whatever was, going on in his head, mentally, led to this. And then, like you said, it was like there was no reason for him to target an elementary school.
But that's not the only shooting that was mass murder, Mike. Let's go back a couple years before that. Let's go back to the theater shooting that happened. I think, what was that?
Oh, The Dark Knight. Yeah, the guy who thought he was a Joker or something. Yeah.
That's all blame movies on this one now.
You remember that one, Tim?
The Dark, maybe that was in 2010 or 2009?
2007, I think.
It might have been that. Guess what? A guy came in there, murdered them people too. But you know what the thing is? We get so caught up on this bullshit that it makes me sick. It really does. Hearing about innocent people getting killed, and all they're doing is going out there watching the movie, just like the little kids in that Sandy Hook show. What do them little kids do? You just murdered possibly future presidents, or Congress, military people for nothing.
Yeah.
Except to ride straight to hell.
Now, I'm going to continue this article on Columbine, and I'm going to lead it into why video games are to blame. Well, first of all, yeah, Tim, I did read the article. I got it up right now. Tim, he sent me a link to an article. This was posted, looks like it was posted Saturday. This legally armed military man rushed into action to protect children during the El Paso attack. And he was a gun-carrying good guy, too. This is the kind of stuff you don't see on the news. You know, they don't cover that. They want to cover the big stuff like, oh, there was 20-some people shot. But don't, one guy rushed to protect kids? No. Our listeners, our viewers, they're not going to worry about that. They don't give a shit about some guy who's carrying around a gun. No, guns are bad, remember? Carrying guns is a no-no. You know, using a gun for good to defend children. Oh, that's not news. What's news? Oh, this one guy who went crackers, and he went in and he unloaded on 20 some odd people and killing 19 of them or something like that, or 20. And it's like, that's how the media works. It's sad. That's how the media works. They don't focus on the good. They focus on the bad. And like you said earlier, putting fear into everybody. That's what the media drives off of, is fear. And Trump is trying to eliminate it.
Tim, you have anything you want to say? You still on there?
You still with us, Tim?
Yeah, hold on, I got customers.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. We'll come back to you, man. I think he's still at work, but he's cool. But yeah, going back to the Columbine thing. Okay, so 20 years ago, April 20th, these two teens, they killed 13 people and wounded more than 20 others before turning their guns on themselves and committing suicide. At the time, it was considered the worst high school shooting in the United States history, as well as the major investigation to determine what motivated the gunmen, Eric Harris, age 18, and Dylan Klebold, age 17. At approximately 11:19 a.m., both students dressed in trench coats. You know what? The Matrix. You know what's funny? The Matrix came out around that time. Hold on.
Reloaded, if I remember correctly.
No, the first one. The first one. Yes.
I do believe you're right on that.
Yep, Matrix came out 1999. Came out March 31st.
But here's the thing, though, Mike. You want to talk about trench coats? Well, one of the guys got rejected by a girlfriend. I do remember hearing about that. I don't know which one it was. It was one of those two that got rejected by a girlfriend that made him go insane. It was either that one or it was the one in the theater. Because one of them did get caught and they did arrest. I think he got the death penalty.
That's probably not Columbine. That was probably something else. I forgot what that was.
But one of them did have a girlfriend issue, and that's what led it all. I think it might have been Columbine.
Well, let's see. They were dressed in trench coats. And like I said, this is around the time when the movie The Matrix came out. Matrix came out a month before these shootings happened. And then, of course, who appears on the soundtrack of The Matrix? Marilyn Manson. Like I said before, who was one of the primary blames, Marilyn Manson, because they listened to Marilyn Manson. So I think it's all leading to somewhere because we didn't hear about the Matrix in the shooting. You know, we heard about Doom, we heard about Marilyn Manson, but let's go ahead and continue. So they were dressed in trench coats, which was popular back then because when the movie came out, everybody was wearing trench coats. Began shooting fellow students outside Columbine High School, located in the suburbs south of Denver. The pair then moved inside the school where they gunned down many other victims in the library. Approximately 11:35, they both had killed 12 students and a teacher and wounded about 20 more people. Shortly after 12 p.m., the two students then turned the guns on themselves. Investigators later learned that they both had arrived in separate cars at Columbine around 11:10 that morning of the massacre. They then walked into the school cafeteria. They placed 2 duffel bags containing each 20-pound propane bombs set to explode at 11:17. The teens then went back outside to the car to wait for the bombs to go off. When the bombs failed to detonate, I can't remember hearing about that. The bombs, I just remember them going into the school.
There was bomb. They did Valk.
Okay, so they were going to plan the bombing, but when that failed, they just went in and decided to shoot it up. Okay.
You know what happened? But I also want to know what else happened 5 years prior to that.
Huh.
Timothy McVeigh.
Yep. The Oklahoma City bombing.
He got by the military. That's what made him go insane.
Yeah, he was a bomb. He was a demolitions expert too.
And all that stuff that Timothy McVeigh used, guess what? Naturally ingredient at your local grocery.
Yep. Now
so
this
is.
Ban
anything, you might as well ban everything in the world if you're going to ban anything.
Yep.
Because you use everything as a weapon. Leave a poison. Put it in
an apple. Carrot.
Well, look at them calling assault weapons assault rifles. Assault is an action. If I stab you with a pair of scissors, it's an assault scissor.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at a pencil. You can use that pen that you're writing with there. Guess what? You're gonna call that assault pen.
Stallone said it better. Stallone said it best. I watched this movie, Bullet to the Head, that has Sylvester Stallone in it. And he's looking at his his partner. He was a he wasn't a cop or anything. He was kind of like a hitman. And he was talking to his partner who was a cop at the time. They were sitting in the car, the one dude's like,
I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, it's called Bullet to the Head. And
I love that movie. That's a good movie.
Yeah, the cop was like, I can kill you with the cell phone. And he was like, yeah, I can kill you with this apple. He was like, yeah, I can kill him with the apple. And he's sitting there cutting up apple slices with a knife.
Remember what was that movie? It was Pitch Black. I think it was Chronicles. The guy says, I can kill you with this pen.
Yeah.
Put on a cup. I was like, and he says,
"Nah, it was a cup."
It was a cup, yeah. And he killed the one guy with the cup, and the next one he whipped out was a pen, like a 1/4-inch pen. They all scattered. Remember that shit?
Yeah. Just like the Joker in The Dark Knight, he was like, "Watch the pencil disappear." Boom.
But here's my thing, though. They want to talk about these video games, but they don't talk about action movies.
No, because that's how everybody learns. That's where everybody gets their knowledge. See,
well, all of this, it all dates back to the 80s.
No, it doesn't even go back that far, Mike. If you look at the movies today, okay, every little movie has every little sequence you can learn off. You can learn off of fighting, shooting, building things off of movies. And if they want to get really technically off of that, that's how they'd have to do it. Because you know why? All these movie actors, let's ban guns and all that. But all of them are movie actors are coming out saying it. If you haven't. Like George Clooney, he used to be for Batman. He don't do that no more now, does he? He used to be Dust from Dawn. You don't do that no more.
What were you going to say, Tim?
I was going to say, you have these martial artists that started learning from movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Look at Jason Statham. You never heard him in a while back.
I know.
But guess what? Now he's up there. Now he has all these mixed martial arts.
Actually, you know what? Since we were
Keanu
talking
Reeves
about... Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, that's right.
That's another big guy. He's a big gun supporter. And guess what? He loves shooting guns. And guess what? They take you to the range to learn how to shoot these guns before they put you in the movies.
Right.
There's several videos on YouTube of him and Halle Berry running through 3-gun courses and training for those.
Yep. Now, actually, going back, to what I was saying, like, stuff like this goes back. It dates way back. Now that I think about it, it dates back to the 1960s. If you remember, I think it was the Beatles' White Album and their song Helter Skelter, which was kind of the Charles Manson. I think he said, I don't know why I said Manson. Charles Manson said it was the inspiration for the murders that him and his group carried out was Helter Skelter. So it's like, okay, it's almost like you talk about like subliminal messages. That's what I'm saying. It's like they think like the way Charles Manson said it. He thought, who sung that song? I think it was either John or Paul who sang Helter Skelter. I think it was John. No, it wasn't John. It was Paul.
Well, Mike, let's go back. Let's go back to that recent concert, Jason Aldean concert. How many people got killed there because of some crazy moronic guy killed somebody at least 800 feet away from?
Well, there was that, and then there was the YouTuber who was shot back in 2015.
Yeah. Speaking of the Las Vegas one, throwing a tidbit here, they banned bump stocks because of that. When it was said that he never even used a bump stock in the.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But that's not the only thing. They think there's another person. I think they caught the other one, a woman.
Yeah, because you got a guy who's bringing in dozens of guns up into a motel room. Like
that nobody saw a thing.
Yeah. That's like, how do you get all that shit up into a room? You got to go past the front desk. Like, how do you not even remotely sense that something is about to happen?
And if you look at the pictures from his room, they were obviously rifle cases. They weren't anything.
No, they had to be in suitcases too.
Yeah, but he had several that were obviously rifle cases. They couldn't be mistaken for anything.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, though, I mean, how can nobody not see this? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And I think they also said the government was too.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the government could have been part of it. Somebody paid him to. And come on, let's be serious now. I mean, these politicians are crooked. That's how crooked these politicians be. They will pay you to go do something. Guess what? Once you do it, they don't give two fucks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to come off as a conspiracy theorist or anything, but some of these shootings happen right before positive gun legislation is coming.
Mm-hmm. And
exactly.
And when they want to ban guns, and this is a true fact too, say it. When they say they're going to ban guns, guess what? Everybody goes out and buy them.
Yep.
So you go ahead and keep on trying to ban our guns. We're going to keep on buying more if you keep telling us you're going to ban them, because the more you say you're going to ban guns, guess what? The more people are going to arm themselves, and the more people are going to be more protected against the government. You know.
It makes you wonder if some of these Democratic politicians might not have stock in some of these companies buried.
Oh, you know they damn well do. You know Joe Biden does. And Bernie Sanders, he's just a joke and a half there.
Well, I don't know if you heard about it. Today, now they say Walmart is under pressure to taking their firearms off, from their section. They got a section where they sell, regular firearms, ammunition, but they also sell like airsoft rifles, BB guns, stuff like that. They're pressuring.
Down here, you can buy a rifle at Walmart.
Yeah, you could buy a rifle without being licensed. You can buy a regular shotgun rifle without being licensed because it does not fall under.
Oh, you come to Mississippi, you can buy anything. There is no licensing down here. There's no registration, nothing. And we have less.
Well, not necessarily, because I know you got drugs. Drugs is a big thing in Mississippi.
Well, I'm talking gun crime, like specifically just gun crime.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Drugs in Mississippi is pretty bad, especially near Biloxi.
Oh yeah, and I'm not too far from it.
And I mean, let's even go into, I mean, we're talking about crimes and stuff here and all this shootings and stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of shootings. We can go back to the very beginning of our former nation. Back in the day where the British Empire shot 13 people. That started the beginning of a revolution. Remember that, the bloody massacre of Massachusetts?
Oh
That's how it
yeah.
all started.
Kids today don't know their proper knowledge of that kind of stuff.
Nope, they don't, and they won't ever teach it. Well, they'll teach that, but they won't teach all this other stuff in school.
Yeah.
People are
Now-
afraid of history, and they want to yank down all these monuments of the war. Guess what? It's history, buddy. And guess what? The way we're going now, we're gonna have a second history. We're gonna have a second civil war, and guess what? There's gonna be more statues, a lot more killing
Yep.
than there was in the Civil War.
Now, going back to the Columbine article that I'm reading. Now, you did say something about how one of them had like a girlfriend or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is saying, in the days immediately following the shootings, it was speculated that Harris and Klebold purposely chose athletes, minorities, and Christians as the victims. It initially was reported that one student, Casey Burnell, was asked by one of the gunmen if she believed in God. When Burnell allegedly said yes, she was shot to death. Her parents later wrote in a book titled She Said Yes. However, it was later determined that the question was not posed to Burnell, but another student who already had been wounded. Okay, so that's nothing pertaining to a girlfriend.
No, but
Now-
I do remember that though.
Yeah. Now here's where the investigation comes in. This is where everything starts getting blamed. Subsequent investigations determined that Harris and Klebold, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name anymore, chose their victims randomly, and the two teens originally had intended to bomb their school, potentially killing hundreds of people. This was speculation that Harris and Klebold committed the killings because they were a member of a group of social outcasts called the Trenchcoat Mafia. Oh, I think I heard about that. That was
heard about that.
fascinated.
Didn't we have them in school too?
I
Yeah,
think
know.
so. Yes.
But here's another thing. The pipe
Going
bombs
back to the
didn't go off
Matrix.
But here's another thing: the pipe bombs didn't go off because he didn't mix the ingredients right. That's why the
Yeah.
pipe bombs
Yeah, they weren't into making bombs. They were into firing bullets.
are more.
But
yeah,
see, here's the thing on that though. If you take the guns away and they don't have that avenue, then where are they going to go to?
Yeah.
bro.
But you have to, but here's the thing though: you got to be really, really. You have to get like a whole bunch of ingredients unless you really know exactly what you can blow yourself.
That's not exactly true because we had a chlorine bombing in a locker at our school. The last year we.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but chlorine and smoke form can kill you. That's the only reason why, probably chlorine.
Yeah, but that's a lot easier to make than an explosive bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but these idiots want to blow up.
yeah. People do their research. I know that. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
the
I mean-
Trenchcoat Mafia. Yeah, that was fascinated by the goth culture. Yeah, that's when goth was coming in around
Goth
that
was-
time.
Goth was huge back in the 90s.
You know, bands like My Chemical Romance, The Used, all that stuff. That's a lot of the music that we were getting into was pretty much the live.
Stuff.
The what?
ICP was to blame on some of that stuff too.
Yep. The Juggalos, yeah, the Juggalo nature of that.
Around.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. It was also speculated that Harris and Klebold had carried out the shootings as a retaliation of being bullied, which is what we were mentioning earlier, that they were possibly bullied, but that's usually the case. Additionally, violent video games and music were to blame for influencing the killers. However, none of those theories were ever proven. Through journals left behind by the two, investigators eventually discovered that the teens were planning for a year to bomb the school in an attack similar to 1995's the Oklahoma City bombing. So they
Timothy
probably
McVeigh,
read
that's
up on
who they were
that.
going on.
Yeah, Timothy McVeigh. Yeah, they probably read up on that.
And the thing that's sad about that too is that they drew out the whole school. They drew
Yep.
the plan of the whole school of that. About that too.
And then the aftermath, many schools across America enacted zero tolerance rules regarding disruptive behavior and threats to violence from students. Columbine reopened in the fall of '99, but the massacre left a scar on the community.
Let me also say one thing here, and I'm not trying to say things are easy to remember, but let's go. Say you go to a Walmart,
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Walmart, you've been to them all, pretty much.
Yep.
So you already know what the basic layout of Walmart is if you've been to a Walmart. So pretty much the government. I'm not taking up for this government or nothing because he's an idiot. Pure fact idiot. But the way it sounds like is this guy's already been to a Walmart. Okay.
Yeah.
He already knew he had this pre-planned. He had to have it. And they're not going to tell you that. But you can go into any Walmart, you can walk out. I've heard there's a girl I'm talking to, but she said she's seen a person walk out there with a 55-inch TV. That's how slick can go with Walmart. You can walk in there and walk out with a 55-inch TV at Walmart.
Yeah, because nobody's watching the door. Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody doesn't. Now they got door watchers, and guess what? That door watcher could be talking to a customer. That goes a customer with a 55-inch TV.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So pretty much the door greeters are worthless. Yeah, they get paid what, $7, $8 an hour just to stand there. But guess what? Times out of them 10, they don't even get receipts.
Yeah.
I can walk in there with a Walmart bag and put something in the Walmart bag and walk out and say, "Yep, there you go." Don't check receipt. Some
Yeah.
and that's the sad part about this.
Yeah.
And they said they have security at Walmart. I hate to say, but they don't.
Barely.
Now,
Now,
they call the police.
going back around full circle here to what we were talking about earlier with the Dayton, Ohio, and the El Paso shootings. Yeah, they're both very tragic. Anytime a mass shooting happens, all we could do is pray. And when you got a group of people that are trying to push a president and into saying, okay, well, we need stronger rules and regulations for this and that, blah blah blah, and it's like, what do you expect the president to do? Like, seriously, what do you expect? What do you expect him to do? Like, the best he can do is maybe address it. Yeah, he can only do so much. He can't, he can't really go out there, visit them, as soon as it happens and say, look, this is a tragedy, blah, blah, blah. Like, Trump has a lot going on for him. He's trying to do a whole lot. And then you got people that are blaming him for these shootings, like, oh, because of Trump and his white supremacy and all these racists out there, this was a racially motivated shooting. Trump is to blame. Like, you're trying to blame one person who's trying to clean up this country, when in fact it was a tweet I was reading earlier from Trump, and he hit it right on the head. He hit it right on the tip, the top of the nail, or however you want to say it. It's all about the person behind the gun. You can't blame weapons for these mass shootings. No matter what you do, if you ban weapons, like, you can't change the Constitution. Flat out, you can't change the Constitution. And one part of the Constitution grants us the right to bear arms. And then you got people that are like, oh, well, the Constitution is outdated. That goes by... why did the live feed just end on Facebook? What the hell just happened?
What?
I don't know. Hold on. Maybe that goes by... Oh, there we go. It's my end was acting up. But yeah, if you go by what people say, what the hell was I saying before that? God, I just had a brain fart.
What they say about Trump and all that.
Yeah. They wanted to ban weapons. Okay. Let's say you take away our guns, even though we have the right to bear arms. That's what I was talking about. You got the Constitution that was put into play over 200 years ago. Over 200 years ago. You can't change the Constitution. You can't change anything about it. And then people say, oh, well, it's outdated. The whole Constitution is outdated. That's for weapons back then. It's like, no, it's not. It doesn't specifically specify what type of weapons you can bear. It just says your right to bear arms and so forth. And I would have to look up, the whole Constitution, but I'm not going to read all that and sidetrack.
Let's
But
also be serious here about part of that, Mike. If they want to ban all guns, why don't they just make this a communist country and take everybody's guns? Because they can't. Because they know
Yep.
the damn government will lose. We have more people armed with weapons and ammunition than we have of a military. Now the military would have a great advantage over us. Oh yes, with tanks and planes, but ground forces, military is not going to shoot at their own people.
no.
Okay? Same with the police officers. You can have a police state and tell the police officer, you better shoot citizens. Guess what? They're not going to shoot citizens. Now they might shoot the idiots that cross Area 51,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
But yeah, going back on what you said earlier, it's like, okay, let's say they take our guns. Let's say Trump caved in and said, okay, we're going to ban all weapons. It's illegal to own a firearm in the country. Let's say something like that were to happen and we had to turn in our firearms or whatever. You know who's going to still have those firearms? Those who don't give a shit. Those who are against the country, those who are all for crime, they're going to have their ways of getting these firearms. Somebody who's, getting picked on at their job, it's like, oh, you fuck up one more time and you're fired, and you got your coworkers picking on you. What's that guy going to do? He's saving up money. He's going to buy a gun from Mexico. Let's say Mexico. He's going to buy an AK-47 from down in Mexico. He's going to have it shipped to his house along with the ammunition and all, or he could build his own gun too. I've seen it happen. If you look at the movie In the Line of Fire, and I always use this as a prime example. It's a Clint Eastwood movie.
There's actually a machine you can buy that's like $5,000 that you can make your own hand pistol, but only shoots one bullet and that's it.
Well, there's that, and plus, if you look at that movie, like I just said, In the Line of Fire, it's got Clint Eastwood and John Malkovich in it, and he's plotting to assassinate the president during one of the, I think it's like one of the presidential speeches or something. And I think Clint Eastwood works for the Secret Service or something like that. He's hunting him down. And you see him build this gun. It's a little wooden gun that acts like a gun. It's something that he can get bypassed. He can bypass the metal detectors. On, like let's say he's going to the White House to do it. They got metal detectors. They're checking you up and down. It's a gun that it's not going to be it's not going to be detected by these machines. So it can happen. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's completely impossible because the cartridge is metallic.
Well, that's true. I forgot how he got that in there. It's been a while since I watched it, but the whole gun itself was made of wood. And of course, like you said, the cartridge, like he only needed like one bullet. He was only going to use one bullet. So I forgot how he smuggled the one bullet in there. I think he rolled it in or something like that and picked it up later. But if you're smart, look at, there's any kind of weapon out there that you can use. Look at crossbows. Like, they're not, well, I don't know if they're fully metallic. I mean, I've never really used a crossbow. But you can use pretty much anything.
You could get a crossbow that has no metal. We have the materials now to do that.
Okay, that's right, yeah. I think they're like some kind of plastic or something.
You can use polymer, carbon fiber, all kinds of different.
Oh, you can go out there and get a bow and you can go out there and get an arrow off a piece of wood.
Yeah. You can use pretty much anything.
Sometimes we used to just we'd fire harden the end of a wooden stick and that would be
Yeah.
Look at Rambo, the first Rambo. Look what he used.
Yep, that's true.
That's survival instincts there. They even show that shit on TV, how to survive out in the woods.
But I wanted to touch on the Constitution thing. If you eliminate the Second Amendment, that sets a dangerous precedent that any amendment can be eliminated.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's what the Democrats are trying to do. That's exactly what Bernie Sanders wants to do.
And then on top of that, which amendment do you think protects all the other ones?
Exactly.
The first one, I mean, the first and the second one, the top one.
Well, the second.
And now they want to get 16-year-olds to vote. Like, who's gonna work? What 16-year-old's gonna go out there and care about politics? I mean, let's get real here.
Honestly, I don't think you should be able to vote at 18 because you're still not mature enough to understand what you're.
I agree because it all has something to. It's all about your mentality state. When anybody under the age of 20, you're still a teenager. You're still young and you're still maturing. I would say, yeah, wait till like 20 or 21 when you're at least mature enough
I'd say
as
at
an
least
adult.
25.
Yeah, there you go. That's
least-
like
yeah.
they do have an age limit for becoming president. 35 is the minimum.
They have an age limit also in the selective service, 18 to 37.
Yep.
You can't even rent a car till you're 35 because you're not responsible. I mean, 25.
That's true too. I heard that too. Yeah. And it's all on how it's all on how your mental state evolves as you get older. Because when you're young, like I work with a couple girls that are like 21. God damn, they are so very immature. Like they drive cars, they work, but still they don't have that mentality, to actually mature themselves. Like I do know some people that I'm friends with who are like 21, 22, and they actually are pretty mature, but there's just a vast majority out there that they're not there yet. And
Not a majority of them don't care about politics.
yep. And you
It's
got
just
Well,
the older generation.
that's like
it's the-
that's like putting the exception before the rule.
yeah.
Mhm. And it's sad that majority of them don't care about politics, but now people in colleges that are like 21, 22, 23, some up to 25 colleges, some are worried about working on their job part of getting that
Yeah.
education. But if you go to 25, maybe 24, 25, you'll get more of a, okay, I'm into politics. I want this and this and this. But anything before 24, yeah, you have a low minimum account of maturity at that area, probably about 15% maybe. But I don't know the fact of that, but
Yeah, they got to at least get some kind of education on everything that's going on. Because if you got your typical 19-year-old who watches CNN and they're like, oh, yeah, Trump is bad for this country. Okay, tell me at least 3 things that makes you think why Trump is bad. And where did you hear it from? I heard it from CNN. You don't know the whole story then because the media doesn't cover the whole story. Because everything they post it's all drama related. It's all drama related. Like I said before,
it's just not CNN. It's these also. If you're on Facebook, there are some. Fake
it's all around. Yep, Facebook is one of the biggest problems. With fake news and half truths. And I've started saying that quite a bit. Half truths because the whole truth isn't there. It's like, okay, George was shot, in the street, at 3:55 p.m. by a masked gunman. Okay, what led to that shooting? Oh, maybe it was random. Maybe it was a drug deal that gone down. Will we know the whole story? No, because they're only going to focus on that one thing, and then they're going to come up with a whole bunch of conspiracies and theories on why George was gunned down in the middle of the street, at 3:15 p.m. or whatever I said, but it's all about half truths. It's about taking that negative part.
Fear.
Yep, it's what you said before. It's about fear. It's about taking that part, putting it out there, and getting people to say, "Oh shit, I'm afraid. I can't go out in the street. It's not safe to go out in the street because George got gunned down. I may be next. The gunman may live next door to me. People are carrying."
And this is another thing too. And I'm going to mention this too, Mike. And this is going to get into the biblical part of it. Okay, this is going to get into the biblical part of it.
All right.
So if y'all are into the Bible and stuff, whatever, I'm sorry, but I am into this stuff because I look up and it's actually falling truths. In the Bible, there is said there will be signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, and there'll be rumors of wars, and rumors of nation against nation, rumors of wars and all that other stuff. Okay, but here's the thing, and it also includes the beast system along with it. Okay, now, and the Bible does say something about the RFID. Now, with that being said, okay, with all that being said, in the Bible it says believe one God, which is the Lord Jesus Christ above. They're trying to take God out of schools, out of the dollar bills, out of everything.
Yep.
Now, what happens when you take God out of stuff? Out of your say, you say, I'm just going to say this, and Lord forgive me, but say that you don't believe, okay?
Yeah.
Your life becomes a living hell, okay? But guess what? Then you go look up above, Lord, please help me, please help me. And that makes you believe. And then guess what? The Lord, you ask him to forgive you of your sins and everything that you've done. Guess what? Your life starts getting better or better. If you put God in things, guess what? You won't have these problems. But these politicians, and Trump's trying to keep God in school and country.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Israel for an example. And I'm going to mention Israel because Israel is a prime example. And Lord, again, forgive me about this. Israel has shootings every single day. Stabbings, shootings, crime, bombings, people attacking them. The Arabic countries attacking them. They are surrounded by enemies every single day. But you know what? They believe in God, and guess what? God protects them.
Yep.
And that's because they believe in God, and God has watched the apple's eye of Israel. Now, we believe in God. We are allies with Israel, but guess what? All these other politicians don't want Israel as our allies. And guess what happens when that happens? When peace and safety comes sudden destruction. It's written in the Bible, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to preach, but I want you to get this. I want you to remember this. Our kids, down a generation, I want my kids, when I have kids, to believe in God and, worship him and all that. But if we let these idiots get in office and take God out of schools and try to eliminate Christians, I mean, there's a lot of persecution of Christians out there. You know why? Because they fear God. And that's the thing. Listen to that word, fear.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is the number one enemy of every country, every single person. Somebody fears something in this world. I don't care who you are and what you do. If you say you don't fear nothing, you're a damn liar. Because there's always a weakness in somebody, and if they don't show it, it's hidden deep down inside.
Exactly.
And that's, my friend, is why we are so divided. It's because of fear. We have fear in our lives, and that's why things are going the way they are now, is because we're taking God out of things, and we're letting fear ruin our lives. Those are the two main things is why this country is going downhill. And it's because, people want to get mad because they don't think prayer works. Well, let me tell you something. Prayer does work. And you can ask anybody that's a true believer, Christian, or anybody else. Hell, I even told Mike, start, looking up to the gospel and all that. And I don't know if you have or haven't, but things have been looking up for you. But yeah, you've had your little downfalls, and we all had our downfalls.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I've prayed for people and things have come true. I've even told people, I was like, hey, look. And again, it comes into our Saturday thing that we usually talk about, but things, visions and stuff, that's a part, that's what God gives us. God warns us. God will, if something happens to you, it's because God's trying to tell you, hey, look, I'm here. I'm here if you need me. I'm here. I'm always here for you no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm inside you. Just believe in me and I will protect you. And guess what? God protects those that love him and trust him. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yep.
But that's the two things there. We're taking God out of stuff, and fear is going to become the new thing, which will become the new beast system, which will become the shadow government.
It's true.
That's what it comes
to. All right.
Those are the 4 things.
Yep. Hey, Tim, you got anything to input and all that before I cover the video game thing and all?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. So,
Go ahead, Mike.
I pulled up on Twitter today, and everybody on Twitter, hashtag video games are not to blame, which, of course, just like every other incident before this weekend, the Columbine, the Sandy Hook shooting, all of them, politicians are always trying to find trying to find something to blame, as if, okay, what drove this person to pick up this weapon and go fire at people? They never really look into the mental state in which that person is in. You know, it's whatever's in that person's mind. And people have always tried to blame something. They've tried to blame music. Example, Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson caught a lot of flack back in '99 because of because I was going to say Sandy Hook, because of the Columbine shooting, and because the kids, they listened to Marilyn Manson. Look, we've all grown up to that, grown up to Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Metallica, whatever. I still listen to it to this day. Is there any subliminal messages in the music? None that I know of, but if there are, Marilyn Manson has never driven me to go pick on somebody or shoot up a school or whatever. Just like with movies. People have tried to blame movies for shit. And now they're blaming video games because video games is an interactive entertainment piece of art that has been around for over 40 years. Over 40 years. Can you imagine conducting a school shooting from playing Pac-Man or Asteroids?
But Mike, here's one thing you forget. Here's the one thing you're forgetting. Everybody plays video games.
That's true.
So who are they gonna target? Little kids, and target the parents. Say, look, don't let your little kids play video games. Focus on us. CNN, ABC, MSNBC.
Exactly.
Focus on us, the news. Don't focus on the video games. Stay away from video games. Now, let me tell you something. Screw the news. Go do your thing. They don't want you to have freedom. They're trying to take that freedom from you. Go watch some movies. Go watch some violent movies. Go watch some horror movies. Go watch some video games. Go do what you gotta do. Don't let them brainwash your mind, because that's what it comes down to. That's what the Democrats want you to do. Sometimes some Republicans too. I'm not going to leave out the Republicans because some of them do too. They'll just side with the Democrats. Some Republicans, some Democrats want to brainwash you into thinking, oh, we're the good guys. When in reality, it states that that if something happens in this country, guess what? Martial law takes all your freedoms away.
Mm-hmm.
Martial law declares no guns, no freedom. And if that's what you want, then I suggest you go move up to Canada or Mexico, because guess what? If this country goes into martial law, there's the only two countries you're going to be running to, unless you run to Cuba, which that's a communist state, and they'll kill you for speaking your mind.
That's like what Tim said earlier. If you go back on the Constitution, if you eliminate the Second Amendment, which grants you the right to bear arms, you're pretty much killing off the entire Constitution right there. You take away the Second Amendment, everything is gone.
You take away the first, too. Yeah, you take away the second, you take away all of it.
Because the Second Amendment is the last defense check we have against the government.
I mean,
taking.
Look at China. President Xi, communist country. You can't own a gun. You can't speak your mouth. You can't speak whatever. You can't even take. Hell, let's look at China. Look at North Korea. North Korea, you can't even take a picture of Kim Jong Un. You have to have a picture of him in your house everywhere you go. In China, you can't even own a gun. You can't even speak your mind. You can't even be a Christian in China. But there is Christians in China that they don't know.
It gets worse than that. You can't
even have movies in China.
If you go back to Nazi Germany, if you go back to Stalin's Russia, if you go back to Cuba, first thing they did was disarm their populace so they could.
Oh, that's the same thing. Yep. Even Australia to this day has a gun restriction. I think New Zealand does too. I think.
And they just got worse.
Yeah, and I mean it's really bad. I mean, and that's. Do you want? And this is the question I ask for the people out there that are listening. Do you want your stuff taken from you, or would you rather have your freedoms and play the video games, watch your movies, have your gun?
They didn't take it. They bought it back for like 5% of its value.
Yep.
And yeah, but the thing about it is, look at okay, the thing maybe let's take a look at Egypt. Let's talk about the what was that? The Muslim Brotherhood takeover of the Arabic country. Okay, Gaddafi, yeah, he was a dictatorship, but you know what? He got along with Israel. Let's take a look at Muhammad Morsi. He died, but guess what? He was taking everybody. He was killing off a lot of people, a lot of Christians in Egypt, and all of that. Now you got new presidents and stuff. I mean, look at Syria, killing their own people.
Mm-hmm.
Look at, if you want to talk about a place, you look at Syria right now. You look at Baghdad and Iraq. Saddam Hussein killed his own people. Syria has killed their own people, and they're both, back Iraq. I don't know too much about it right now, but let's take a good look at Syria because that war's still going on. You don't hardly hear anything about Syria anymore. That's because, you know why? Because all their people from Syria left there because they know that, guess what? The ISIS and what's that? Bashar Assad is pretty much over there running that country. And they want to speak out their freedoms. They want all those freedoms. And you know what? And then soon we're going to be like the European Union. We're going to be taken over. And guess what? When that happens, that's when you'll see a real civil war.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, and then that's when you got martial law and then goodbye freedom.
Exactly.
If you want to look at a good example of less crime, look at Sweden.
No, Sweden's the worst example because they got a high rape rate right now. That's where all the rapists. That's where all the rapes and stuff's going on. Sweden.
Outside of that, though, every single person in Sweden is required to be in the military, and they take their weapon.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
That is how they keep violent crime down. That's how they keep from being invaded, and they can stay neutral because everyone is the military.
But let's also talk about our immigration system and let's.
Oh God, does that mean that PewDiePie is in the? Does that mean that PewDiePie is also in the army? Because I think PewDiePie is over in Sweden.
But let's talk about our justice system for a moment. People out there murdering people only getting 4 or 5 years. If it was my butt, I'd be getting locked up for life. I remember back in the 90s when you got locked up, if you committed a crime, you either get the death penalty or 25 to life. Now people nowadays are getting 5 to 7, 5 to 10 years max, possibly. They're not getting the death penalty and all that. And that's because our judicial system is all screwed up.
Yep.
That's the number one problem. Our judiciary system and our immigration system. Those are the two problematic things in the system of this country. And the thing that's outside of that is fear in taking God out of the country. That's the second thing that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, if you're old enough to go out there and vote, go out there and vote. Don't sit on your ass. Vote for something that you believe in and then you think that's right. If it sounds good to you, do it. Doesn't, then don't vote for that person.
So getting into yeah. So getting back into the whole thing that's going on Twitter, hashtags video games are not to blame, with all this, with what we discussed, I'm gonna read some tweets here that make a lot of sense from people who have stated their opinions. And one of them is what Tim was saying about how other countries are different than what we're going through here with the mass shootings. One person stated, mass shootings in America in 2019, 251. Mass shootings in other countries of the world who have video games, 7. So
Can I interject on that for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Those statistics for the mass shootings include gang violence.
Exactly.
Gang violence is the number one. MS-13 is a big one.
Yep. Let's see. Volkatrocity on Twitter posted 3 hours ago. Imagine thinking video games cause violence in 2019. How uneducated is the older generation? For one, I'm probably I'm not part of the older generation. I'm probably what you consider a millennial. I was born in 85. I don't know how that whole thing works, but I don't blame.
We're technically millennial.
Yeah, it's sad. Even some millennials are like, oh, let's go eat Tide Pods and shit. But I don't believe video games are to blame. Scott on there said, "Dear pro-gun people, I'm a white male. I listen to heavy metal music, play video games, wear black clothing. Religion is a joke. Plenty of LGBT friends. Bullied in school, rejected by girls. Never have I once thought of shooting innocent people." That is a strong... That's a pretty strong statement right there. He listed everything about himself.
I can one-up you.
What's that?
That's
It's all that same stuff. I've played video games. I've played violent video games. I listen to heavy metal, all that. And I carry a gun every day, and I've never once just thought about shooting.
Exactly.
I can help y'all on that. I got LGBT friends. I play violent video games. I watch violent movies. I've watched, I'm into religion. I have guns, but do I go shoot people? I listen to rap back in the 90s that talks about gang violence and all that, and heavy metal music, and some death metal, and country where they talk about shooting guns. So yeah, I haven't gone out there and shot nobody either.
Yep.
It all comes down to the value of life is not being taught by people's parents.
It's discipline. That's where it
All
comes
right,
down
here's
to.
something funny I'm putting in the Discord. This is something that's very interesting. You'll be able to see it too, Tim. This is a statistic chart that somebody posted. Now, on the left is the video game revenue per person estimated in 2019. Of course, South Korea has the highest video game revenue amongst everybody else. And then on the right, you got the violent gun deaths per 100,000 people in 2017. Look at what the highest rate for violent gun deaths is.
Okay.
Now, is that showing like 33,000 here in the...
I don't know. Like that's as of 2017. It could be. I'm not sure. This is let's see. It's from Vox. Violent gun death data from the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation. Video game revenue data, which does not include hardware sales, from Newzoo, a gaming analytics company. So this is somebody's statistics. But the United States is the highest on violent gun deaths. Notice it doesn't say, people, there's nothing in there about video game deaths. This is all violent gun deaths. This is people getting gunned down.
I'm surprised. I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised South Korea is number one on video game because I thought.
Oh no. I don't think a lot of people.
Those statistics are skewed too, because 60% of that number that you see for violent gun deaths are suicides.
Exactly. Yep. Let's see. I don't know what this person's up. Let's see. Video games are not to blame. This is Will Ryan on Twitter. If your child goes and shoots someone, blame only yourselves and your shitty parenting. Why aren't you blaming movies or songs or arts? They should have the exact same effect, but why the seclusion? Because you're old, fat, and hopeless. Well, somebody's very opinionated. Well, that's somebody blaming parenting. But then again, it's not...
Too. Parenting has something to do with it also.
Exactly. Like some people, some of these kids grow up in a broken home. They grow up, to, their parents neglecting them, treating them differently, just beating them when they're growing up. There's so many things that occur, and it affects you as you're growing up. Like, take this for example. I don't know how far. I don't know when you moved to Mississippi, Tim, but up in Maryland here. 4 years? Okay. Then you should know about the guy who calls himself Brittany Girl Dale or Madonna Dale.
Of course.
Now, I've seen his little quote-unquote documentary on YouTube, and he opened up about a lot of things, in his life growing up. Like, he was, molested and all by, some family members. And he's even, tried committing suicide a couple times, but he was committed to, a mental hospital for it. But how he copes with he dresses in drag. He's a gay guy, but he's pretty cool. I've talked to him quite a few times. He dresses in drag, and he goes around dancing dancing in the streets and all. You know, he dresses up, you know, with a blonde wig and fishnets and all that, and the dude's happy. Does this guy go out committing murders and all? No, I mean, that kind of stuff does affect you mentally, but there are ways that you can help treat yourself for, you know, some of the stuff. Now, yeah, some people, you know, there's no saving, you know, like some kids, you know, they don't consult adults when they're bullied in school when they got something going on. Instead, they take matters in their own hands. And
Oh wow! Here's
Which
something I
on
gotta
that
read about
subject,
yeah.
this. I gotta read this real quick, Mike. You was just talking about the Walmart shootings and all that. Listen to this. This is just a couple hours ago. I actually posted at 12:57 p.m. today. The Harrisburg County Sheriff Office arrested a 31-year-old Wayne Lee Paget of Valco late Sunday. He was charged with calling the Walmart Supercenter in Galveston, Florida on Sunday afternoon, telling the manager he was planning on shooting up the store.
Jesus
31
Christ.
years old. 31-year-old guy wanted to go shoot up what? A Walmart for what? Because he probably wasn't getting paid? I mean, come on. I mean, how stupid can this guy be?
Usually we think
mean-
about
we had a guy shoot 2 people at a Walmart up in North Mississippi last weekend. You didn't hear anything about.
Nope. I mean, a lot of people, this is what I'm talking about. This is the thing that they want you to put in your heads. They want you to fear life. These people are the guys that have demons in their bodies, which again, you take God out of the question, you're going to have a demonic spirit around you, you know, and that's the thing. And that's what I've been trying to tell people, man. It's like, you know, you think that everybody wants to blame God, everybody wants to blame Trump, everybody wants to blame somebody, but they don't blame themselves.
That's like going back on what I was saying earlier. Now, small shootings like that, you see them on, you know, local TV stations. That's like up here in Baltimore. Every single day, you hear about 3 people being shot, and it's on your local news station. Is it on something like CNN or Fox News? No, because that's not proper news to the liberals. If you got something like El Paso, Dayton, you got mass shootings, that's big news. Let's cover that. Let's put that fear out there. Yeah, this guy, he's a psychotic, you know, he's very psychotic. All these mass shooting, you know, he went in there with an assault rifle, AKM, AK-47, whatever the hell. You can't say me, I'm a taco killer. Cypher.
It was actually a Wasser 10.
Okay.
That's it's a civilian variant of the AK. It's cheaper.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
It's still though, man. I mean, it's sad. It really is. Sad thing.
Now, there's not too many. There's a lot of tweets out here I can read. Let's see. This one was posted a little bit ago on Twitter. Gamers say video games are not to blame after criticism from Trump. Now, I know I said, you know, we were talking about Trump earlier and all. Trump even came out. Actually, give me a second, guys. I'm going to see what's going on my end. You guys discuss some of this real quick.
All right. But, you know, the thing we're talking about Trump, yeah, Trump said something about video games, but you know what, though? I think it's, you know, everybody, I mean, let's look back in the old days. I mean, let's go back to when everybody loved Trump. Everybody loved Trump before 2016. Everybody went to talk, this man, Trump's a cool guy. Trump's this, Trump's that. Trump is in WWE. I mean, come on. I mean, politics, you gotta put fear in you. I mean, what's your side on it, Tim?
I mean, Trump has to make a statement about it. He can't not. But the statement he made, I didn't think directly pointed.
No, I think it's just the pressure. People pressure him, and he's like, I know he didn't want to say it,
But you know, he's the president. He has to make a statement on anything major that comes out. But sometimes, you know, he just makes a statement that's generalized, so he doesn't.
Exactly. And Trump doesn't choose sides. To be honest with
All right, what did I miss? Apparently, somebody showed up at my house and had the dogs all riled up.
Well, yeah,
Grab your gun.
Trump doesn't really choose sides a whole lot. Really, he's really just himself. So, I mean, you don't hear him choosing sides at all. Really, I mean, he's a businessman. He does what's best for business.
Oh, this is what I was talking about earlier. I just found it. All right, Trump did say this earlier. This is what I was looking for. We must stop the glorification of violence, Trump said, referencing what he called as the gruesome and grisly video games, and blaming mental illness and troubled youth for the recent mass shootings. Mental illness and hatred pulls the trigger, not the gun.
Exactly. Truth.
And then, of course, let's see, somebody else said, President Donald Trump and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy are citing video games as one of the reasons behind... Video games is not to blame for these shootings.
The thing about it, let's get to the video game part. I think, honest to God, Trump was under pressure when it comes to the video game.
Yeah.
You know, because let's be realistic. I mean, yeah, he's Republican Party, but realistically, there are some Republicans that are against video games, and we all know that. Even one of them came out and said it. A Republican did say something about video games, and that was the first guy that came out and said it. It wasn't Trump that came out. Oh no, don't get it wrong. It's Republican. I forgot what state they came out and said it. I seen it yesterday on Facebook. There was a Republican that came out and said something about video games are the blame, unless there was an investigation.
You know what? I hate to interrupt, but I gotta say, I actually agree with Hillary Clinton on this one thing she stated. As much as everybody hates her, Hillary Clinton. All right. I'm going to read something that McCarthy said. Okay, McCarthy, who's a California Republican, he cited video games as a driver behind gun violence. He went on saying this: the idea of these video games that dehumanize individuals to have a game of shooting individuals and others. I've always felt this is a problem for future generations and others. We've watched from studies shown before of what it does to individuals. When you look at these photos of how it took place, you can see I disagree with this asshole. I don't know how Trump feels, but here's what Hillary said. Hillary Clinton, who unsuccessfully challenged Trump in 2016, dismissed video games as a possible reason for the shootings. I agree with her. Like, why can't it be Trump saying that? Why can't Trump say that? You know, why must...
You got to understand, too, Mike, it is politics. It is... Trump, I guarantee you, Trump is not behind that. And I can tell you why. And the reason why is because it comes down to 2020 election.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, he's being pressured by all the Republican. Number two.
Yeah, he needs the backing of his party.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's not Trump. Trump has nothing. Trump is for video games. Trump's for guns. Let's be realistic. He's even said himself. He carries a gun with him all the time. You think Trump's going to be like, oh, video games are the blame? Do you see Trump shooting anybody?
Yeah.
No.
That's like, look at the mass murders committed by Charles Manson and his group. If I go back on that, like, was video games around? Yeah, I know his group. Yeah, he led the group. They were a racist group. They were they weren't Nazis or anything, but you know they
his group was like, what's that guy, the Zodiac Killer? You know,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, they didn't have video games back then when that stuff happened. You know, they were going off of subliminal messages and music and all. You know, stupid stuff like that. There was no video games back then that were doing that. There were shootings and crimes committed throughout the 70s and the 80s. Was any of them committed?
1900s.
Did anybody fucking kill anybody over Super Mario Brothers or Pac-Man or Asteroids? No.
Wait.
I mean,
wait a second. I do got one thing to say. People did kill people over cards though and poker back in the 1800s.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because you know you cheating some bitch, you know, and it's like, yeah, that's a card game. Yeah.
But I mean, did you go around jumping on turtles because you saw it in Mario?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. I mean, unless you're some sicko who decided to do so.
But
I wanna hear
let's deconstruct their argument. Their argument is saying that playing these violent video games with realistic looking people is dehumanizing the violence.
Yeah.
Now,
I-
I
I mean,
know
like I
as
said-
much as you guys that we know the difference between a video game character and a real person.
Oh yeah. And you can put cheat codes in and have unlimited lives.
Mhm.
When like you only get one. If not,
Yeah,
you get
and
sec-
we all know we're not going to respawn if we get shot.
True.
well,
yeah.
you can if you get shot in the arm or shoulder or something. You
Just
know,
a
that
well,
gets
I
you
mean,
shot in the chest and the head or something. Fuck.
Mhm.
But
But
that's,
this is their
Right.
argument. They're saying that it's dehumanizing. That's the parents' job to teach them that these video games are not real.
Yeah.
so okay. So if they want to say it's dehumanizing everybody, then why are we always having war overseas and stuff? Let's kill another.
Yeah. It's like I'm not
You know,
using games
it's
like
a
Call of
future-
Duty to train me in how to fire a gun. I don't know how to properly fire a gun. I don't know how to follow what they follow in the military. If I walk up and say, "Yeah, I'm a second lieutenant on Call of Duty," and they're like, "You know shit, Jack."
Mhm.
Hey, on that note, if you want to come down and see me, I'll teach.
There we go.
Exactly. When I go to the south, you can shoot guns in backyards in the country. Just
Yep.
don't go to the cities.
Like
Let's-
I've talked to a few people down here that are older people, and they said they used to have rifles and shotguns in a rack on their truck going to school so they could hunt after.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Truth on that.
And there was no shootings down here back then.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So. I
But
mean, that's what
fine.
it comes down to.
I did find some more tweets I can read on the topic of what's going on Twitter. So Bailey
Twitter's gonna be
Motionless. Oh yeah, it's been
It's gonna be
blowing up.
about-
It is.
You know,
This-
I don't even have Twitter.
You know what?
I said I don't even have a Twitter. I stay off of that shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I follow it
That's
for
all.
the most part. I follow a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, Bailey Motionless on Twitter. She said, "I'm sorry, but they really aren't to blame. Video games have helped me in some of the best ways possible. I've met some amazing people through video games, and I consider very close friends. Stop trying to blame video game violence on video games and music." That is true. I even found, like, you know, somebody like me who suffers from depression, I don't take any kind of medication or pills because that shit has negative effects on anybody. But I feel like video games and interacting, especially with people on a multiplayer network, it does help. It does help your mental stability. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not thinking about going out there and killing my neighbors over Fortnite or something. No, it's something that you got stresses of the day. You know, you work, you know, dead end jobs or whatever. You work long, hard hours. You deal with stresses of life. You need something to escape that kind of mentality right there, where you're like, I'm ready to blow. So what do? You sit and relax and you find something to do, a hobby or something. Whether you watch a movie to relax yourself, you listen to music, or you play video games, you read a book. Video games is another way to escape mentally from the stresses of life.
And it's a lot better than going home and doing drugs and drinking.
Exactly, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, you know, some people say you're too addicted to video games and shit. I'm like, well, either I could choose video games, or I can choose to go out and waste money on booze and drugs and end up in the fucking ghetto, end up in a fucking gutter somewhere, you know, dead, or I could end up, you know, drugs and alcohol, you know, they lead you to a very negative life. You know, some people say video games do that.
No, I will have to disagree with part of that. Alcohol, if you take too much,
True, yeah. I'm not saying like if you drink a beer, no, 1 or 2 beers is not going to lead you to that life. But I'm saying like if you're a full blown alcoholic, if you're going out every single night blowing your money on a bottle of scotch or something, and you're endlessly drinking and stuff, like
Yeah. That's more. Yeah.
yeah.
Clarify.
Nick said on Twitter, video games are about building friendships and community on a global scale. Fortnite and the gaming industry has no connection to mass shootings. Ignorance is rampant in the media. Aurora.
Let's talk about Fortnite for a little bit. How many shit talkers on Fortnite and Call of Duty?
Let's see. I know the vast.
I find it fun to do a lot of shit talking,
Mhm.
but at the end, it's like, hey man, good game stuff.
Yep.
You can talk all the shit on there. I'm gonna whip your ass on the shit, but at the end, it's like, hey man, you're a pretty good person. Be on my PSN network or whatever, and it becomes a pretty. That's how you make a clan. To have fun with. Shoot.
There's a camaraderie between gamers. We may be competitive as hell when we're playing, but at the end of the day, we respect each other for how well we.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah, I ain't somebody like Shroud or Dr. Disrespect or any of those other popular gamers out there that, stream for a living and make money off of it. I'm not a competitor. I'm more of a what do you call it?
More of a fun.
It's there's a word for it. I can't think of it, but yeah, it's more about playing the game and enjoying it. Especially like if I'm playing, like let's say later on we're playing PUBG, we have fun doing it. If whether we win or not, we have a good time doing it. We have a few laughs. It's all in good fun.
We talk a lot of shit about each other too. It's the fun stuff.
Yeah. But does that make me want to go out and pick up an SRS somewhere and go shoot somebody? No, that's not my mentality. Does it?
If I want to do that, I go down to a shooting range or go to some friend's house or go out in the backyard and shoot some.
I got a perfect analogy for all this. Okay. Video games like Call of Duty. You got politicians and other people out there that say video games are a simulator for these mass shootings. Does playing Call of Duty actually help me or train me or teach me on how to use a firearm? No, because I'm holding
Technically, yes and no in a sense, because think about it. You got to have a strategic way of hiding yourself and protecting yourself. 1. And 2, it doesn't show you how to load a gun correctly. Correct on that. But in reality, say you're going behind a barrack or something, okay? You raise up your rifle, you shoot the guy. You gotta focus your aim on on a target. You gotta have sight. It's gonna teach you how to learn how to do sighting. And also how to teach you strategically how to, move around and without getting killed or something. Technically it does and it doesn't at the time. So I'm gonna go 50-50.
I have to disagree with the sighting because picking up a sight picture on a rifle or a handgun with iron sights is nowhere near like it is on Call of Duty.
Exactly, because they change up a bit. Like, let's say you get like an ACOG scope. Well, an ACOG scope won't work on one particular weapon in a video game, and it wouldn't work on that weapon in real life. That's the thing. Is like if I look at PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, very popular game. Now it's more of the realistic, militarized style battle royale. Yeah, there's some fictional features in there, like if you get shot in the arm, will bandaging up heal you? Fuck no, not in real life. It's not going to build your life bar back up.
But here's the thing about that there too, Mike. You got to understand. With the gun thing, you also got to understand this, that it's not all about sight. It's all about strategically of like caliber weapons, okay? Say you use a pistol and you're wearing a bulletproof vest. Okay, 9mm, it won't penetrate through the bulletproof. Now you pick up an AK-47, you shoot that a specific type of bulletproof vest, it'll go right through it. So technically, yes and no at the same time. Again, it all comes down to the caliber of the weapon, plus if you're wearing protection also on that game.
Oh,
too.
believe me, I watch Demolition Ranch a lot.
Oh, you know?
Yeah. see,
You know,
so to weigh in on that, like, okay, so a 9mm will stop on a 3A soft armor,
unless
but a
you
22
have armor
Magnum.
piercing bullet, unless you have armor piercing, which is illegal in every state.
Not every state, but they are very hard to get.
So there is certain rounds you can use a 9mm. What I meant by is like if you use a regular a regular caliber kind of 9mm without the
it-
armor piercing.
It depends on the armor you're wearing, whether it's 2A, 3A, 2,
Yeah.
3, if it's hard armor, soft.
You know what I'm talking about, Tim. There you go.
Because, I mean, you put an AR 500 plate in your plate carrier, it's going to be heavy as hell, but it'll stop 223, 762, and
Oh yeah. So that's what I mean by you could still learn off of video games too, but there's certain things that they don't teach, like how to load weapons, put the bullets in the magazine that they don't.
And even those of us who shoot do not know how to operate every single weapon if we've never.
Right.
That's true. Because you got to figure, like, somebody like me and you, like, well, Tim, you own a firearm, so you know what it's like to actually fire a firearm. But let's say somebody like me, the only firearm I ever fired, really, in my life was, like, let's say a BB gun. That's not going to put off a lot of force. I may know how to hold the gun, do the little, sideways motions and shit, but each weapon is handled specifically depending on the firepower it comes out. It's like when I'm let's say a shotgun. A shotgun, that's a lot of force that's kicking back on you. If I fire that weapon in a video game, I'm not going to feel that force because I'm holding a controller. I'm not holding the actual weapon. If I was holding a shotgun like right now and I pulled the trigger, that's a lot of force. I don't know how mentally and physically how I'm going to take that force, how I'm going to be able to, withstand that force. That's something that you got to train yourself.
Comes down to recoil also.
Yeah, that's like if you got a 13-year-old that goes into school with an assault rifle, because daddy owns an assault rifle, this will be cool, to fire at these kids that are bullying me up in school. Like, okay, he don't know how to fire it precisely. He's never fired a gun. Maybe he's played it on Call of Duty, but when he goes into school, he's targeting, Billy Bob and Frankie Joe down the hall. He ain't going to hit them. He's going to spray and pray on a bunch of other people, because he don't know how to fire that thing. It takes somebody to teach someone how to use a firearm. And then, of course, nowadays with YouTube, and people posting videos on how to build guns, how to operate guns, how to load them, this and that. I don't know if YouTube still has them up there. You have people teaching people how to build bombs and shit.
Not anymore. It's all taken down.
That's right. Yeah, with their terms of service. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you can't even show reloading videos anymore.
Yeah, I know Demolition Ranch. I know the guy that runs that channel. He's been kind of wary about that because that's all the videos he does. He'll show off weapons and if certain bullets can penetrate, certain things and stuff like that. I watch those videos all the time. I know he gets demonetized.
And that's another thing, and that's going to come into the second I'm about to bring up is censorship.
Yep.
It's what? Censorship that too, and taking our guns and stuff against censorship.
Exactly.
And that comes with the Second Amendment. Take your guns. They want free from speech. That's part of the big shadow government.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, I did find this article I'm going to cover. This is the last part of the stream. We carried on for like 2.5 hours. I'll carry on for a few more minutes with this, and we can talk about this. Now, everybody's trying to find some kind of statistics or some kind of articles, anything at all, to link video game violence to mass murders. This is off a website. This looks like a phony website anyway. charismanews.com. I don't know how much, I don't know if it's a fictional site or whatever, but they do have an article here stating, year in review, This was from back in 2015. 14 mass murders that were related to video game violence or violent video games. So starting off at number 1, which of course we talked about earlier, was Adam Lanza and the Sandy Hook shooting. He was a frequent player of violent first-person shooter games. It was said his existence largely involved playing violent computer video games in his bedroom. That doesn't really say much, though. Like, was that even a motive for him to go, just to take his mommy's gun or daddy's gun or whatever it was he used, shoot his mom, go to a random school, shoot them up?
I thought he ran into a social media website.
I don't know. They're trying to say
most of these, if you look at the mass shooting, and it's probably on that list too, Mike. Most of these are off of social media sites, like satanic websites.
They probably are.
White supremacist websites, all that crap.
Oh, Cypher, if you're still in the chat over on Twitch, you're going to love this one. This is the guy that did the shooting in Aurora, Colorado. James Holmes, who went on the rampage in the movie theaters that was showing The Dark Knight Rises back in 2012. Yes. He was a frequent player of the violent video games, including World of Warcraft, the famously addictive role-playing game. I can't believe I just read that.
Yeah, that's
how does that have anything to do with that?
Yeah, World of Warcraft. I didn't even play that game.
Oh my god. Are you saying fucking Norks and golems and shit are the reason he shot up a movie? Oh, come the fuck. Yeah, this website's gotta be bogus. Like, to say something like that. Like,
because I'm gonna play World of Warcraft and go into my school and cast fire.
Yeah, let's go play Diablo 3 on PS4.
Oh my god, here's another one. Elliot Rodger, who killed 7 young men and women, including himself. He was hooked on violent video games from a young age, from his own admission, hiding himself in World of Warcraft where he felt comfortable as a kid.
Oh,
who the hell does this shit? Like, seriously.
Okay, you know what? Maybe they need to bring that on PS4 so we can understand the game.
I can admit that I was an avid player of World of Warcraft, and the violence in that is so dumbed down that it can't do it.
Exactly. There's no guns on there. You got hammers and swords and shit. It's a fictional place. Like, oh yeah, me killing 100 boars at the beginning of the game is going to cause me to go shoot up a school. Jesus Christ.
There are guns, but they're like dwarven flintlock.
Okay. Like, I know when it comes to school shootings and a lot of these mass shootings, it's no laughing matter, but when I read up on this and how they compare some of this shit, it's like, there's nowhere near any kind of motivation for somebody to go out and shoot somebody. Here's one particular. Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof, he was the kid that shut up at church a few years back. It was a black church. Yeah. They're trying to say, he spent much of his time playing violent video games. Well, maybe he should have spent more time playing video games rather than going shooting up a fucking school. Really, don't you think? But there was something that set him off. Whatever it was, that was racially motivated. It had to have been.
I mean, you can get down to its mental health. Something in these people are disturbed. And while violent video games might affect that microcosm of people, that's like cutting off your toe because your toenail, or your foot because your toenail's infected. You can't dismiss an entire class of video games for a few deranged.
Yeah. Or like this guy I'm reading here, this is number 14. I'm skipping over a lot of them because this is ridiculous. Evan Ramsey snuck a shotgun into his high school and shot a student and the principal and wounding 2 others. He claims that the video game Doom disordered his version of reality. I didn't understand that if I pulled out a gun and shoot you, you're not going to get back up. You shoot a guy in Doom and he gets back up. You have got to shoot things in Doom 8 or 9 times.
That's a bunch of bullshit too, because you don't come back.
Yeah, I know. Like
Doom doesn't even have people to shoot at; they're demons.
exactly.
Well, you got that's not true. You do have the little shotgun guys that are zombies, but and you also have those guys that carry those machine guns. What's that gun that shoots multiple?
Like
All right, I'll give you humanoid, but we all know that they're not actual humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. But yeah, I understand. You know,
See-
people make mods of it to make it look realistic. But
I mean, it's like they'll cite things like Left 4 Dead. Those are zombies. They're already dead people. We know this. We know zombies aren't real. What's the
Here's something about this article that is so intelligent, I have to read this. Whoever wrote this article. Of course, this doesn't mean that all children, teenagers, and young adults playing video games, even violent video games, will act out violently. But when will people realize that the most dangerous weapon a person yields is their mind? The more minds are corrupted with violence, the more dangerous society becomes. That's probably the most intelligent thing about this whole thing.
One I've heard.
Yeah, that's the most intelligent argument right there. When somebody tries to compare a mass shooting like El Paso, Dayton, Sandy Hook, Columbine, when you try to compare those and try to blame violent video games on them, the video game is not telling you, hey, go shoot up a school, go shoot up a Walmart, go buy a gun and do this. It's not a motivator. It's all in how the mentality of the person is. And there's a lot of that. I will give you a prime example. I hate to bring this up. Tim, you don't know this person, but, you know, Empire and I do. There's this guy. He's in his 30s, and he has a persona on the internet, on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. He goes by the persona of Captain N. And he is very mentally deranged. Like, this kid, well, he's not even a kid. He's like 37, 38 years old. He's got split personality syndrome. He thinks he's several different personalities in one, and he'll act them out on social media. Like let's see, with one account, he'll act out like he's role playing a Nintendo game or something with other people, or you think they're other people, and they do certain things on social media, and then he's got another account where if you dislike him, or if you don't agree with anything he says, or you don't friend him, he comes and attacks you. Now, if he don't use that account to come and attack you, if you don't use that personality to come and attack you, he'll go on his other account and cry, you know, I'm depressed, you know, this person don't like me, blah, blah, blah. He'll want to commit suicide. This dude, oh my God, I gotta find this tweet. All right, I gotta share this in the Discord. This dude literally... Yeah, go ahead.
To speak to that, just like we do with firearms, I agree that we should keep violent video games out of those types of people's.
Exactly. Because you don't know how they react with that. This is a picture of what this guy sent me. He's going to tell me I'm on my way to the hospital. Like, he's trying to say that he cut himself or something. And I'm like, dude, really? All over what? And he does this all over drama channels on YouTube. You know, his life revolves around social media and YouTube. He follows everybody related to drama, and when it backfires at him, he threatens with he threatens with suicide. He threatens, oh, you don't want to be my friend on social media, I'm going to kill myself. And I've tried talking to this guy several times. I'm like, dude, this is not the way. You know, you don't use this as a crutch. How many people out there die every day of suicide or mass shootings? And here's somebody like you who ignorantly uses it as a crutch to get attention. This is the kind of person who people should be on the lookout for, on the alert for, because this is somebody who has that mentality of when all this, right now he's quiet on social media to the you know, sort of. And if somebody like this, if enough of it builds up in him, he's going to go crazy. This is somebody who's going to, he could get a gun, he could buy a gun somewhere, he could have just enough mentality to go to a Walmart or a Dick's Sporting Goods or somewhere, buy a gun, and literally drive, walk, fly, take the bus out somewhere, and shoot somebody at random. And there are people out there that are like this. This one guy. This is just one guy, but I'm talking about people that are like him. Like the one I was talking about earlier. I forgot who it was, who had Asperger's syndrome. You got people out there with these mental, these mental disorders. They're not to be. They let these people. I mean, I'm not saying don't lock them up, but keep a watch on them. Keep a strong eye on them.
Can I speak to two things on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's already a law that people who are mentally unfit or have a felony or all that are barred from owning firearms.
Yeah.
So that is a non-point if everything is done correctly. But for the people listening, there are two things I would advise everyone to do. Go to a gun range and try out a gun. Fire a gun, that way it doesn't scare you.
Mm-hmm.
And two, even if you don't follow through, try to purchase one so you see how hard it really is.
Exactly. Like, you could almost ask them, like, to a person who fires a gun at someone, how hard or easy is it for you to pull a trigger at a live human being in front of you? Like, if I was standing in front of one of you all, it's not an easy thing to pull the trigger. It's like, I know what the consequences are going to be. I'm gonna be arrested and all that. That's just little shit right there. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be arrested. I'm gonna do 20 to life, but mentally, that's gonna affect me greatly because I'm gonna spend that time thinking, oh my God, I've taken a life. I pulled a trigger on another human being in front of my eyes. That is something that affects you for life.
For the rest of your life.
Look at all these veterans, the Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans, all those. They suffer from depression and so many other things because of what they have dealt with, what they have went through in war. It's life-changing. So I can't see how somebody with a machine gun, an assault rifle, whatever, when they walk into a store or a school, what are they thinking before they pull that trigger? And then, of course, I guess they figure this is what they're going to have to live with for the rest of their lives, so they take the easy way out. They turn the gun on themselves. And that's what usually happens in these mass shootings. They turn the gun on themselves, and then the police have no answers as to what motivated this person. Yeah. And Tom even made it. Yep, even Tom made a point in the chat. People will always find ways to kill other people. People who really want to kill themselves, we kill themselves regardless, though they will kill themselves regardless of attention or not. And that's true, and that's all they...
As far as the machine guns go, no normal citizen can purchase a machine.
Exactly. They're like, they're those kind of things are hard to get. Those are like military, army kind of stuff. You're not going to sell a light machine gun to Billy Bob Thornton that lives next door. Ain't gonna happen.
But you can buy a tank and drive it.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, but like I said, like no average firearms dealer anywhere that you can get to sells directly machine guns.
Exactly. Now, if you wanted to buy something like, let's say, to collect it and not fire it, the only way to do that is if you order it online or know somebody in the black market for that kind of stuff, which is still illegal. Then, like, let's say you actually do get it. It's like, okay, I can't take this out in public. I can't tell people I have it. I can't tell Sarah Beth next door because she could have turned me into the local police. You're going to say, hey, he's got an LMG in his house.
And do you know what the fine is for
Lord of War?
What's that?
You know that movie called Lord of War? Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. You were saying, Tim?
Oh, I said, do you know what the fine is for having machine gun or machine gun parts?
Nah.
It is $10,000 and up to 10 years in federal prison per.
God damn. Well, I guess there goes my dreams of owning a an LMG.
There are some that are legally transferable if they were manufactured before 1968. Cheapest one you'll find is $10,000.
Damn. Yeah, I do remember you said that, Tom. Tom is part of the NRA. I do remember you saying that. Oh man, but let me check one more thing statistically. Okay, statistics. Before I close this out, statistics on video game violence. Video game violence effects. Okay. There's gotta be, let's see, 10 surprising facts about video game violence. Oh, Christ. Number one, let's see. Even though video games have been studied for over decades, the conclusions drawn seem to depend on the definition of video game violence, the group being studied, such as teens, children, adults, etc., how large the effect should be before it's considered clinically significant, the particular research group conducting the study. Usually these groups are they're all fucked in the head, you know. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. What is this? This is, I don't know what this is. This okay, this is what I'm supposed to be reading here. Okay, number one is, right after playing violent video games, young children are more likely to demonstrate physical aggression in a free play environment. This is a short-term effect. I can see very, very vaguely that being sort of true. Like, let's say you play a game of Fortnite and you're playing 5 rounds back to back and you lose every round. You're pissed off, yeah. You want to win, you want to play a game and you can't win. Yeah, you're pissed off, so you turn the game off, and yeah, you're still going to be pretty upset. Are you going to go pick a gun up and shoot it? Are you going to go take a knife and stab somebody? No. A video game's not going to cause that.
Maybe for like 2 minutes afterward, but after that it fades.
It does, yeah. It phases off. It doesn't last very long. Like, yeah, I do get pissed off at video games myself, but do I take it out on some physical living being? No. You know, look at all these rage videos on YouTube. You got people that are punching walls and punching doors and shit. Like, you take your aggression out, yeah, but it does. There's really nothing that says, okay, this person's going to go out and shoot up a school because they lost horribly to 5 games in a row of Fortnite or Call of Duty. When there is an effect, compared to girls, boys appear to be more affected by violence in video games.
There's a good reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Men are genetically predisposed to be the defender of the family.
Exactly, and when you feel like you've been beaten, you feel like you've been defeated, in a sense.
Exactly, and one of the other problems is the swap in these gender roles, or the fact that they're calling our masculinity toxic.
Yeah. And we don't, that's something that we try to, we don't try to put out there, It's like, oh, let's see. Tom said, I'll attack someone with a spoon, a whole new meaning to spooning.
But, like, on that note, like, if you think about it, if we are repressed from our natural instincts to defend and protect, then maybe these video games are.
Yeah. Exactly.
I believe there was a study, I don't remember what it was or who did it, but they showed that playing video games can release aggression.
It does. And that's what I use a lot of times. Like if I'm like I said before, if I'm depressed, upset, even if I'm angry, you know, like even a buddy of mine, he gets angry at times for certain things. He gets stressed out. I'm like, okay, let's hop on a video game. You know, we'll play an online video game together. We'll joke about, have a little bit of fun, and it releases a lot of aggression. It releases a lot of that stuff because you're in a good mood. You know, you're in an environment. You're closed off from the world. You're in your own little world. Let's say you're playing Call of Duty, you know, and you're with your friends. You know, you're having a good time. You're talking. You're laughing, and it like you said, yeah, it takes a lot of that aggression off. You know, it really releases it. So it's a pretty good thing. You know, you know, when you're able to do something positive with, you know, something, you know, as little as a video game, then yeah, that's a good thing. If a study on a video game violence is conducted in a highly controlled laboratory area or environment, as compared to the studies in a more neutral environment, it is more likely to find that the violence is harmful to the player.
That makes sense because you're out of your element. You're somewhere you don't know. You're already going to be nervous.
Exactly. Look at people that are pressured when you look at all these the e-game sports, like when you're playing Overwatch or PUBG or Fortnite, you know, e-games. You know, you're in an environment with, you know, dozens of other people. Like you say, yeah, you get nervous about it, and something's bound to happen. But I don't, you know, it's all in how your mind is affected with it.
I would imagine that stressful of an environment would trigger your fight or flight response.
Yep, that too. There is very little support for the theory that video game violence causes adults to become more aggressive or violent in real life. Well, yeah, that's true. There is very little support because, you know, how many postal workers out there do you see shoot them up, you know, especially when playing Battlefield or something? Because look at how adult life is compared to childhood or your teenage years. Oh, hey, what's up? The other Tim is in the chat, Riddle. But in a video game, if you get killed, you can come back. In real life, you don't. Yeah, we already covered base with that earlier. Yeah, there is no respawn. There is no come back in switch. If you want, this Discord is up, Riddle. If you want to come in and chat with us for a little bit before we close it out, and you know, feel free to do so. Let's see. There may be a publishing bias in favor to studies highlighting the harmful effects of video game violence compared to those that do not find a negative impact. Let's see. He's sitting next to you. He might need some mace. So you all sitting together. Okay, that's cool. Violence in video. Huh? Go ahead.
That last point just it proves the point of the media being biased and not telling you the whole truth because it pushes their.
Yep. It's like we said earlier. It's like, you know, oh, we don't look on the positive effects of video games. We look on the negative effects of video games. Hence, we got a mass shooting.
There are numerous positive effects of video games, including puzzle solving ability, critical thinking, spatial awareness, rapid object identification.
Yep. And I don't know if Empire knows that he is muted. I'll unmute you. Did you mute for a reason?
I had a phone call, and it does that every time.
Oh, okay.
I know it's muted. I was listening. That part was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, it does the eye and hand coordination too. Reaction.
That too. Violence in video games does appear to affect the level of a player's psychological arousal. An example: the brain activity, breathing, and heart rate, and the galvanic skin response. Well, yeah, there's going to be some kind of what was I just reading? Yeah, there's going to be some kind of arousal to it because when you play video games, you know, your mind is set at what you're paying. You're paying attention to what you're focused on in front of you. Like, let's say when Empire and I play a game of PUBG, and it's down to me, him, and two others. Yeah, my heart's gonna race because I'm trying to get us a chicken dinner, and your nerves are rattling, your heart's beating fast, and you're like, "Holy shit, we're almost there!" That kind of thing. Yeah, but it's an exciting.
That's if he doesn't wreck us in the car.
It's also especially true if you're playing like DOA volleyball.
Exactly. Oh yeah, definitely. You got women in bikinis bouncing up and down.
Oh, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's see, number 8. Those who are naturally more aggressive, angry, or violent are more attracted to violent video games. The connection between the violence and video games is not necessarily unidirectional. I guess that's how that word is.
Unidirectional.
Unidirectional. That is.
You must be a very violent person.
Yeah, I've been playing Division 2 for the last 4 days. I'm pretty pissed off.
Well, what that comes down to, what that comes down to is what we said before: the whole releasing your aggression and getting rid of that violence. That's why you're attracted to it. It's an outlet.
Exactly.
Unless your Xbox breaks for the 4th time.
Yeah, then you take it out on the Xbox and no one else.
Well, that's why you play PlayStation.
Exactly.
Oh, he burned you.
That's what I said last night. Like, I'm going to Sony or PC.
Hey, when you get a PS4, let me know. I'll add.
Oh, I already got one. I got both those consoles. I'll hit you up after the stream. I'll let you know what my gamer tag is on there. Because we're going to be playing PUBG later on. I don't know if you got that.
No, but if you want to enjoy some Borderlands 2, I'll play with.
Yeah, I got the Handsome Jack collection. I can hop on that with you. Let's see. The majority of gamers believe that video game violence has few, if any, harmful effects on them personally.
And who else is a better judge of how things are affecting you than you yourself?
Exactly. Like, nobody can judge you but you yourself. And of course, number 10, compared to violence in video games, repeated exposure to television violence may actually be more harmful to children. That's what they've been saying for so many years. Like, when you look at the news, when you watch what's on TV, like, sometimes the news, they'll report, oh, your best friend, Jimmy Joe, he was shot on 5th Street. It was a very violent gang shooting. He was handing out crack rocks to Demon Riddle, and Demon Riddle said, hey, these rocks ain't real, so he shot Jimmy Joe, in a pool of blood. It's like, okay, would you you want people to watch this, but watching a fictional shooting in a video game that's part of a story is not okay, but you rather people hear about Jimmy Joe getting gunned down over some crack rocks. That's like when you watch movies.
That comes down to the difference of we know what is real versus what is fake. We know that in a video game, this is not real, but like with these mass shootings, they're emulating the people before them because they go, oh, if they can do it, so can I.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I really don't know if there's anything else I can add to the fact that, I mean, we've covered a good lot in these last 3 hours. We covered a good bit about, the shootings, like, definitely prayers to those in Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas. That was, it's a very grueling moment for you guys. Like, that was a very tragic thing that happened. So many people died this weekend that didn't need to die, and the shooting didn't even need to happen. But you gotta look at it from a perspective. There are shootings everywhere. Every single day there's a shooting. Like, look at Baltimore. And I know I didn't cover it before. I'm not going to cover it now. I'll do it in another podcast, but I'll mention it just briefly. You know, Baltimore is one of the worst cities to be in right now. And Trump has already criticized Elijah Cummings, the president of Baltimore, for him not stepping up and ensuring safety of the city and the county, and you know, and actually putting effort into bettering it. You know, it's only getting worse. And when he came out and said that, and of course Al Sharpton came out and said what he said, that's for a whole other topic. And I'm like, look, I agree with Trump 100% with what he said. Baltimore is a complete shithole, but that's not to say like there's so many other cities out there that are like that. You know, where the violence is rampant. Yeah, there's so many shootings going on, so many drug-related crimes. There's a shooting every single day. Take that with a grain of salt.
And you know what the funny part about that is? I wouldn't say funny, but the amount of gun deaths in America per capita is 0.00004% of our population.
Exactly. We're killing ourselves off. You know, some people are worried about what's going on overseas when, look at your own country, we're dividing ourselves. You know, every single day, whether we want to think about it or not, it's the saddest thing. Somebody somewhere is dying.
You're 16 times more likely to be stabbed and probably 30 times more likely to die in a car accident.
Yep.
True that.
And those are heavy statistics right there.
Yeah, and then you get into drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes, and it's even higher.
Yep. So you got to figure between all of that, including natural causes like cancer, diabetes, etc. Oh, Real said, you just can't say that about Baltimore because it's everywhere you go. Exactly. Everywhere you go in this country, well, even in this world, but the United States has the highest rate of murder, suicides, any kind of death. You know, people are dying every single day. I want to say, I want to give it at least a minimal of 100 people a day are dying in America. That may be too high, but you got 50 states. Not every state somebody's going to die. But you're not going to, you're not going to hear about these deaths on.
That's actually statistically false. We do not have the highest death rate in the entire.
Oh, okay.
No, it's actually in the Middle East.
Well, yeah, that's true. You did say that.
Yeah, we are probably, I think the statistic I heard, at least for violent crime deaths, we're like 60.
Okay.
Yeah, out of 175 countries.
Okay, so I did look up, this is, alright, list of the top 10 countries with the highest rates of death in the world. The highest, number one is Lesotho, wherever Lesotho is.
Where the hell is that at?
I have no idea. Deaths /1,000 population 14.89%. Date of information was 2015. That's a death rate of 14 point.
Stuff over in the Middle East, top area.
Let me see. Death statistics.
See, and that's the other thing. You have to make sure you look at per capita because of the population size of the country.
Yeah, that's true.
Say if you looked at China and didn't look per capita, they would be way higher than.
Well, let's see. Data for the U.S. in 2016. Number of deaths: 2,744,248. Death rate. The death rate is 849.3 deaths per 100,000 population life expectancy. 78.6 years infant. Mortality rate 5.87 deaths per 1,000 live births.
And I'd hate to throw this in, but you also have to count abortions.
Yeah, that too. They're fighting that too. There's some states that are trying to make that illegal.
A lot of the states made it illegal now.
Yeah. Man, we can go on about this. Like, we'll make that another topic for probably later on this week. Maybe we'll do another episode of that because there's like a lot of stuff we're opening up out of this barrel of monkeys, and we ran out of time. 3 hours, goddamn. So
We'll have to get a woman. I want to hear a woman's perspective on that.
yeah, if we can get I don't know, Cypher. You think Tench would be up for one of these with you, or I'll hit him up. Maybe you just let me know if you get because definitely Empire's he's got a point right there. We could use a woman's perspective on some of this. Maybe we can probably touch base on that. But anyways, guys, we went 3 hours. God damn, we talked a lot tonight. It got very political. We talked about how these politicians are video games. Like, video games are not to blame for these mass shootings. You know, you got to look at the people involved, and you know, we'll never know what went through their head. We don't know if that guy who, you know, shot up. Well, I did hear one thing that it was supposedly Hispanics. Like, it was Hispanics shot up in El Paso. I don't know how true that was. I know that Mexico wants to hold some kind of lawsuit. Well, not a lawsuit, but they want to hold us responsible or accountable for that. So I got to read up more on that.
Is that confirmed, or is that just the working thing?
It was something I've read.
I heard something about it, but
I read it on Twitter or Facebook this morning. I forgot what it was. I got to go back and find that.
Because I know when I was watching, I watched both CNN and Fox to get both sides. They were looking at it possibly being a hate crime, but they had not confirmed anything.
Okay.
Well, they don't know because of the same time as the El Paso shooting and the Dayton shooting, there was a white supremacist thing that went up, and
they talked
connection to know it.
they talked about him having a manifesto, but they couldn't reliably link it to him at the
Yeah.
But no, that's between the both shootings, though. The one in the Dayton and the El Paso. They think those might be both related to.
Yeah, the one in Dayton included multiple races of people.
Oh, okay.
Like the guy in Dayton, he actually shot his sister too.
That I heard too. Yeah, I heard that. Well, all right. We did cover a lot tonight. If there's anything we missed, guys, we'll probably cover it in another episode. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. I'd like to thank my old high school buddy Tim for joining us. You said you wanted to join in today. You got your chance. Anybody in the future, if you want to be a guest on the show, like I said, feel free to download the Discord app on your mobile device or PC. It is free to download, free to create an account. Just hit us up in the DMs on Twitter or on Facebook, and we will get you the link to come into the Discord and chat with us. But everybody is free and welcome. Dude, Tim, good talking to you again, man, after all these years, since 2004 and all. Good talking to you again, man.
It was good to be here, and anytime you want me to come in and weigh in on something, man, just let me know. I know a lot of things that can probably help, and I can get you sources.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Plus, you're on our Discord, so yeah, anytime at all, you feel free to log in. Just, hop on over, click that general tab that we're on. When you go to leave out of here, I'll get this out of the way with. Just hit the disconnect icon on there. Yeah, the disconnect icon will drop you from the call, and you'll be good. But do you have any last words or anything you want to say before we close this out?
Well, I'd just like to reiterate that, anybody who thinks that guns are too easy to get or they're too scary, go shoot one, go try to buy one, see for yourself before you make a decision.
Exactly, and that's a really good reiteration right there. How about you, Mike?
Just want to thank our men and women out there, the blue and the military guys and all that, and EMTs and all that, go out there, lives on the line for this country and everything. And just remember, folks, don't let fear get the best of you. Keep doing what you want to do. Don't go out there and be stupid.
Exactly.
So,
And once again, I'd like to thank, our guest Tim for coming today, voicing your opinion. You're always welcome. And of course, to our co-host Mike, who finally got better internet. We definitely could hear you a hell of a lot better than we could the last time. That's going to be our next episode right there. Internet services and providers.
We already talked about that on PUBG.
Oh, we did, but we didn't get like a full-on podcast on it. Yeah, we're going to do that. So, hashtag Hughes Internet sucks.
Yeah. Go spread that.
Yep. And to y'all who joined in today, I know Wolf joined in at one point, then he left. But yeah, to Riddle, to Tim, to Cypher, and everybody else who joined in and watched us on YouTube. This will be re-uploaded to our YouTube channel, Arrow Entertainment. Be sure to hop over and subscribe to that. Thank you all for watching us. Our main streaming channel, twitch.tv/Arrow with a name. And if you're over there on Mixer, mixer.com/Arrow Entertainment. And to those of you on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us today. We'll catch you guys on the flip. Y'all take care and see you later.